How's everybody doing? Hold on. Christine's worried she's in trouble for rushing me. She kept asking me when I was getting on and she wanted a hug. Let me tell her she's not in trouble. No, you ain't in trouble. Come visit me on live. There we go. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm having a rough day today, guys. I think I'm getting sick, but we are here because I did promise that I wanted to finish this story. So we're going to try to do that tonight. I got to go take care of the animals. Hi! Hi, Sister Butterfly. Oh, alright, so we got some goodies for the animals. Lots of orange peels and banana peels. Oh, my ear is just so, it's like itchy and painful at the same time. It keeps itching, and then when I go to scratch it, it hurts. Alright, I need some socks. How are you doing today, girl? I need some socks. That's what I need. The gloves. Where's the socks? I had a pair of socks out here. I swear I did, at least. Where'd they go? Where'd the socks go? Are they here? Oh. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very, very stuffy. That's why I said I'm going to try to read the story, but I might have to, like, stop and take a breath every few minutes, because it's hard to, like, read when you can't breathe through your nose. I can a little bit, but it's very, very stuffy. So, yeah, I'm getting sick. Everything is, like, I'm already stuffy most of the time. You know, I got those sinus issues. I'm usually stuffy to begin with, and now it's, like, double stuffy. Double stuff. Double stuffed Oreos. A face mask. Oh, like for being sick, like the COVID masks. Somewhere. These. Here we go. Okay, I found my other sock. Here we go. I have one somewhere, but I'm in my own house. I don't need one in here. Yeah, I have one somewhere. If I go out, I'll probably have to wear one so I don't get everyone in the world sick. Hi, Connie. How are you? Oh, so the wind don't hit my face. Oh, that'll be fine. I can just pull my sweater up and just do this. It's not really that windy today. It is cold, but it's not windy. It's like in the 20s. It is chilly today. I think it's supposed to snow either late tonight. MJ says, hi, Miss Snuffleupagus. Welcome to the sickness. Yeah, I heard you were sick too. Maybe something's going around, huh? Mine's going into my ear. It's like I can feel, like it's like right here. Like, I don't know, right behind here. And then when I move it, if I pull on my ear, I can like almost feel the liquid like right between here. Like it, you know, you like move your ear and it feels like you like all squishy, just like makes like squishy noises because of the liquid in your ear. That's kind of how it is right now. Yours is a bad, bad cold. Yeah, I had 2 cold sores. One on my, which the cold sores have gone away. Now it's just, what is that? Is that a piece of hair or is that a scratch on my face? I don't know how that happened. Huh. I don't know how that happened. Maybe the cat jumped on me while I was sleeping. Were the cats climbing on my face while I was sleeping? Come on, Lou. Jessica says, I'm not going to be home tomorrow. Pumpkin says, how am I doing? Yeah, I'm sick, but I'm doing okay. Monkey Boy says, my chickens and ducks are getting ready for bed. Yeah, we're going to put my animals to bed. We have guinea hens and goats outside that we're going to go put them to bed right now too. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I got myself trying to like present a little bit more presentable. My hair was all messed up, so I hadn't brushed my hair today, and I've just been in my pajamas. I still am. I'm like, I'm not getting out of my pajamas. I'm staying in my pajamas, but I brushed my hair, I brushed my teeth, got myself kind of a little more put together to get online. I was like, I came in, I was all disheveled. Just like sick, you know, when you're sick and you're just kind of disheveled all day. So I got myself put a little more together. Sorry, it's just hard to get these snow pants over my pajamas because the pajamas are bulky and loose. These are my dad's old pajamas, so they're like 2 sizes too big, but they're very comfy. All right, here we go. Angel Garner said, do I like your name? Sure. A bug inside digging. Is there a bug inside digging? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about with a bug. Monkey says, my new fish tank is coming today. Very cool. Cool fish tank. Hi, Animal Lover. Yes, I saw you come in. I just was trying to respond to everyone. A lot of people came in at once, so. Aftab said, where's Looney? Here's Looney. I think before I read my book, we can take her downstairs. She heard that. To play with her ball for a few minutes, because she's going to want to play. So Looney's right here. Oh, my knee hurts. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Everybody hurts sometimes. Hi, kitty. Yeah, I feel like the cat might have stepped on my face. I feel like a scratch on my face. I'm like, how did that happen? MJ said, I'm almost always in PJs. I only wear non-PJs if I leave the apartment. Yeah, I get dressed most of the time eventually. I'm in my PJs till late, but I'll get dressed so that I feel like I've done something. And I don't like to clean around the house in my PJs. I just feel like lumpy. So it makes it feel like it's at least been like a change of a day. If I stay in my PJs the whole time, it just kind of, I feel like a lump. So even if I'm not doing much, I try to get changed. Just putting myself together sometimes makes it feel a little better. Butterfly says, Blue is doing better. We switched his food and added antibiotic drops. Oh yeah, he was getting sick, right? Your fish. MJ said, hi, Miss Connie. Hi, Pumpkin. Hi, everybody. And MJ said, have the chickens made any more escapes? No, my brother, well, so far, we'll find out tonight, but my brother came over this morning and fixed up their enclosure like for good, better than what I did. You know, mine was just sorry, I was fixing it in the middle of the night, like, you know, just trying to throw it together as best as I could so they wouldn't escape. But my brother came this morning and patched it up and nailed it back together the right way and all that. So he fixed it this morning. So we'll go out and see how it is. Make sure they haven't escaped. I'm getting my dream fish for your birthday. Yeah, what is your dream fish? I like angelfish. Angelfish are kind of cool. I like those big ones that have like, they're like yellow, and I forget what they're called. They're like yellow with blue on them. I don't remember what they're called though. Fried catfish. I think they're talking about pet fish, not fish that you eat. A tiger Oscar cichlid. Oh, the tacos were so good. Oh my god, we're gonna have more tonight because I haven't even eaten yet, but we're gonna have more tacos because they were so good. So good. So good. Here, let me see. I want to look up what kind of fish. Tiger. I'm curious what type of fish you. Tiger Oscar cichlid. Oh, those are cute. Interesting. They're like tiger colored. Look at this one. That's cool. MJ said white girl taco night. That means something else, I guess, for lesbians. Yeah, they look like lava, right? Those are cool. I don't know what are those yellow and blue fish? Yellow and blue, large. They're not like huge, but they're pretty big. Yes, like these. These are these. I think they're both angelfish. Oh, are they a type of angelfish? Because I usually see white angelfish. I was saying I liked angelfish. I didn't realize they were a type of angelfish, I guess. Like these stripy ones. Where'd it go? Angelfish. These ones. Oh, where'd it go? Not that. Where'd the blue one? Where'd it go? That's not it. Yellow belly blue tang. No, where's the other one? That's not the one I clicked on. Angelfish. Yeah. Blue and yellow. Aren't those cool? Those ones I like. MJ's like, I'm like Dory. What kind of fish is Dory? Is Dory an angelfish? Dory. Dory fish. Oh, blue ate, he does look like a blue tang. I think he is. Blue tang. It says blue tang Dory. It is Dory. It's Dory. Dory's a blue tang. Yeah, I like those angelfish that are like, oh, and these ones too. I think they're clownfish, right? Is that what those are called? The clownfish? The ones that are like orange and white stripe? I think that's what they're called. Clownfish. Look at a fish. Yes, those are cool too. I like those ones. I love saying an anemone enemy. That's who I thought you were talking about. Yeah, I like clownfish and I like angelfish, but like the colorful ones, because they have white angelfish too. They have just like regular white, which those are pretty. The white angelfish are pretty too, but I like the colorful angelfish. The white angelfish are cool because they have like those like really big like their fins are really pretty. They have very pretty fins. But I like the colorful angelfish. So many different colors. That's a pretty one. Oh my goodness. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, angelfish are one of my favorites. I like angelfish. With fronds like these, who needs anemones? Loony. Hold on, I gotta crack my arm. Okay, here we go. Betta fish I like, I just don't put them in front of anything reflective. Oh yeah, they'll try to fight themselves. Basically. You know birds, if you put them with a mirror, they'll fall in love with themselves basically. If you put a mirror with birds, they fall in love with themselves. It's kind of funny. But you're not supposed to do it because it can like really mess with their mental health. They'll get like attached to the mirror and won't want to do anything else. Yeah, the snow ain't going anywhere for a while. Monkey says my snail's about to lay eggs. And MJ said, "LOL, Dark Horse, I like your sense of humor." Yeah, I think Dark Horse has been in here before. They've always been funny. And yes, we have a lot of snow. It ain't melting yet because it's been so cold. It's not going to melt until the coldness goes away a little bit. What did she do with the bag? She said it's like behind her door or something. The little bag I have with the, hold on, it's on my mom's side somewhere. Hold on, I have to be quiet for a sec to go over to my mom's side and get the bag of water. Where did she put it? Where did she put the water? Hi, Lucky. Hi, cutie. Oh, it's over here. The water, the water, the water. Hello. Yeah, if you want to come out, you gotta go on the leash, buddy. Come on. Hi, Lucky. We gotta go on the leash, honey. Come on, crazy animals. Oh. Come on, guys. Come on. Monkey says my male snail is named melanistic squirrel. Black squirrel. That's cute. Monkey says I gotta go. Okay, Monkey. Well, thank you for coming in. Please like and subscribe. We enjoyed hearing from you about your snail and your fish. That was cool. You inspired me to go look up some fish, so I like that. I like when people come in with different things that I can look at and give me new ideas of things. So that's cool. I love when people give me things to be interested in. So the entertainment goes both ways. I'm not here just to entertain you. You guys entertain me too sometimes. Animal Lover said I'm sitting outside coloring again and it's cold out here. I'm cold. Brr. Maybe get a sweater. Because you were only in a tank top before. I know you probably don't own a lot of sweaters in Florida, but you could grab yourself a sweatshirt or put those warm, it's getting late enough. Go get changed into your, like, big onesie pajamas, like the footy ones that, sorry, I can't hear, that cover your whole ear. Yep, your whole body. The footy, I'm, like, thinking of my own ear. I'm like, the pajamas that cover your ear. No, get the pajamas that cover your whole body. Oh, okay. I'll bring this back out. I cleaned their brush. I use this to clean their bowls. But yeah, definitely maybe go get some, go get yourself a sweater or some warm pajamas. Hi, Luna. And I send you warm hugs. Yes, warm hugs. Looney's got warm snuggles. Come to me. Looney, send Christine some warm snuggles. Warm snuggles. Why am I sending you my warmth? I need my warmth. I'm about to go outside in the cold. You send me some of the Florida warmth. I need some of your warmth. Like, wait a second. I said, wait a second. Why am I sending my warmth to you? Look at all this. I need my warmth. I gotta conserve my warmth. We dug Looney's ball out of the snow. It got buried. I had it sitting in the corner and then all the snow from the roof fell on it. So I had to dig it out for her today. Pumpkin said, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Yeah, I said, I need my warmth. I need my warmth. I need it. That's my warmth. All right, we got lots of goodies for the goats. They're going to love this. Lots of goodies here. Country Living says, that's a lot of snow. Yeah, it's like so much. At this point, I've been telling people to just go in through my garage mostly because, I mean, I climb over this, but I don't want to risk anyone else trying to climb over it. So when people come to my house, I say just go in through the garage because I haven't shoveled this Once the snow started falling off the roof, it was too much. Oh, I need this bag. Hold on. Stay there, Lucky. Oh, all right, we can go check out and show you guys what my brother did this morning. Naughty Lucky. Oh, coat got stuck. Silly Lucky. And Moon's got her ball. Ooh, my hair looks nice in the... You still see my red. I was like, ooh, look at that red hair. It's been fading. Most of the color's been fading out of my hair, but it still looks, when it catches the sun, the light. Hold on, I'm trying to... I was like, oh, look, I still have red in my hair. Most of it faded. I do have to do a dye job again soon. Hi! I was waiting for some of my hair to grow back because I had picked it when the dye started fading. I picked a bunch of it. So I'm waiting for it to grow back before I dye it, because if I dye it and then it grows back, then I'll end up picking it again. So if I wait for it to grow back and then dye it, then I can dye the whites and have them be the right color that I won't pick them. I just have to, you know, be diligent and try not to pick them as they're growing. Hi! Okay, it looks like he fixed it. Oh, I see what he did. Look. He put an extra piece of wood all the way across the bottom here on top. So this thing was just nailed to here. Like, it was just nailed, like the wire was only just nailed onto that. He put a whole extra, he put this whole extra piece of wood on there to keep it in place, and on the bottom. So I had it freaking just duct taped. So that's nice and secure now, and they won't escape. Awesome, awesome. And they got lattice up on top, so they can't peck at the top anymore. Up there, see? Hi! But see, now they can't really peck at the ceiling. Maybe a little bit, but... Yeah, it looks good. So my brother came over this morning and did that. So we just had to wait for him to get back from Florida. Like I said, I kind of rigged it. You still coughing, bud? I'll go get you more cough medicine. He hasn't been, like, he won't cough and then all of a sudden he'll cough again. Alright, there we go. I don't know, it's been a few days since I heard him cough. Now he's doing it again. Whiskey, stop your coughing. I'll go get you your cough medicine. Hold on. I'll come back out with your cough medicine. Oh. But yeah, that should hold nice. Hi. This wasn't plugged in because it's icy. It's getting icy. Forgot to plug that. Someone forgot to plug that back in. Hello. But yeah, that's better. So now the chickies, they got a better situation going on now. So they can't peck their way out. They can't, hold on, let me put all messages. There we go. Yeah, the chickies can't peck their way out. They can't barge their way out. They can't eat the insulation on the ceiling anymore. So much better situation in here now. Is this still running? Okay, the heat. No, okay, that's off. Oh, okay. It's not that cold in here. I was just making sure. Making sure the heat wasn't on still. It's not that cold tonight. If it gets real cold, I turn the heat on, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's cold, but it's not that bad. Hi, Jamie. welcome in. All right, you guys got that. Okay. Plug this back in over here. Hi, Whiskey. Yeah, I could get you some more cough medicine because I don't know if you're still coughing or if that was just a one-off. His medicine is just herbal, so it's not like I'm overdosing him. It's herbal medicine. Hi. Here, can I clean your dish? Hi. Oh, you know what my brother also did is he fixed the hay manger. That's why I have that bin, because the hay always falls out of the manger. So if you put a new board up on the bottom of the manger. So everyone say thank you so much to Uncle Anthony, my brother, because he came and helped me with the animals this morning. So thank you to my brother. It's just some things I can't do with the construction type of things and like building. I don't have a chainsaw or whatever, a saw to cut pieces of wood, and I can nail stuff, like you saw me, I nailed things, but I don't have like to get pieces of wood the right size and that kind of thing. There you go. Hi, Whiskey Doodle. So these are for the goats. We got lots of, what's that, an apple, banana, orange. There's some Brussels sprouts in there. Some old Brussels sprouts. So there's lots of goodies. Actually, I'll put half in this bowl. That way Lily can get some. Come here, Lil. Here, come here. Half for you and half for him. Here you go, honey. Here, get some right here. Oh, don't knock it over. What are you doing, silly? Silly girl. Let's see. Ariana, I'm in trouble for trying to rush you before. No, I told you, honey. That's why I messaged you. You didn't get my message? You didn't get my message? I said you weren't in trouble. I just said, stop rushing me because I'm sick and I'm moving slow. I know I told it. I didn't tell everyone. I told whoever was in your stream. I was like, yeah, I'll try to be on by like 6. But it ended up being like 6:30. But not everyone saw it. Just basically you and Butterfly and Pumpkin. So I didn't feel as bad that I was late. Oh, I wish she would come down, the one that has the hurt foot, so I can check on her foot. They're like way up high, so I can't see. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, look, see my brother? Okay, you did see it. Yeah, so no worries. I said you're fine. I was just saying I was sick, so I was moving slow. I know I told everyone 6, though, so I was late, but I was just like, don't rush me, I'm sick. But I'm always late to my own streams. You guys know me by now. Y'all know me. When I say a time, it's more like a general idea. All right, here we go. So yeah, now, I'm going to kick this out there so that we can have some hay outside to stand on. There we go. Yeah, my brother put some strapping up here under the manger. Hold on, let me show you. So there used to be wood under there to hold it so that it doesn't all come out at once, but it all fell off before. So now there's new wood so that they can just get under there and pull it without it falling, because it was just falling straight through. That's why I had to put the bin underneath. But now I think I can leave that like that and then just put some extra hay over here. That way Lily can get some. if Whiskey's being a brat. So I should put it over by the door. She likes to stand over here. Sometimes Whiskey's a brat. There you go. Scoot, scoot, Whiskey. There you go. Put some over here. Oop. Owls? What are you saying about owls? Hold on, my phone's popping off the tripod. Oh, my glove fell. Hi. Hi. What you guys doing? Owls. What are you talking about, owls? They were looking for you, Pumpkin. The owls. They were driving lowriders. I saw a gang of owls with knives on them. Oh no! A gang of owls! Ah! No owls! Get those owls out of here. No, I like the owls. I like their little hoots. Jamie said Ari's got her buzzards to protect her. I like how you call them buzzards. They do look like little buzzards. Little vultures. Little vultures. How's your foot, honey? Which one of you's got the hurt foot? Just wanted to check and make sure it's healing up. Can't see. Alright, scoot your bum in there, Whiskey. Get that big fat bum in there. Look at that big fat bum. Scoot your big fat bum. I gotta come back out with some cough medicine for him. It's like, it's not a lot. He coughs just every now and then, but I can't, it's like making me not be able to tell if it's just dry air in the winter that making him cough, or if he's still got something going on. No, my turkey. MJ said I'm going to eat them all and tell them I'm eating chicken strips. Pumpkin says I'm going to eat that turkey. Don't eat my chickies. Don't eat my chickies. Are you the one with the hurt foot? Huh? I can't see. I can't see your feet. Where are your feet? I think you're the one with the hurt foot, but I can't tell. You're covering your feet. You're covering your feet. Huh? Where's your feet? I think that's her. I think. Can I see the other side of your foot? It's the other foot. I think. Oh, no, that is it. Oh, it looks okay. All right. Well, come down, honey. If you come down, I can check on you more. Hi. Hello. They're starting to get the red color in their beak and stuff. You know how they have, like in the pictures of them, they have like a red beak and helmet and stuff. So they're starting to get the red on their beaks. You see the color is starting to come in on them? Oh! So they're starting to get color on their beaks. You're starting to get colors. You know, the color's starting to come in. Jamie said your brother did a good job. Yeah, he did good. I just had to wait for the boys to come and do the things that they do best. Ooh. You are getting like... It looks like it might need to get cleaned again, but she won't come down. So as soon as they come down to eat, I'm going to steal her. But yeah, he did good. Got this all cleaned up. This ain't going nowhere now. So That's good. And yeah, they can't peck at the ceiling, which is great. So we don't have to deal with that crazy pecking, and I don't have to worry about them getting a freaking impaction. I was worried about them getting like a crop impaction from, I don't know if they were actually eating it or just pecking it to make a hole so they could escape. Here you go. Here you go. Yum. You want some? Hello. All right, Mama's gonna go get you guys some, what's it called? Your cough medicine. And I wanted something else. Oops, sorry, there's some more water. What was I gonna get? Cough medicine and whiskey. Hi. Oh, sweet boy. Yeah, I was gonna go get you something for your cough. Yeah, just in case. It's only every now and then, but I don't know. It's herbal, so I feel like I can just give it to him and see if it helps. Hi. MJ says, I want to pet and walk my dog. Have you seen those AI pets? Oh, yeah, those are kind of cool. Hi. Oh, Whiskey, we love you. We love you. Mommy will go get you a treat, okay? Oh, yeah, see, there you go. Lily likes her hay. Sweeties. Jamie says, those AI pets look like real animals, but what they send us is a stuffed animal. Yeah, it's like false advertising. They use AI to make the AI pets look real, when the actual AI stuffed animal isn't. Hi! Boop! Boop! Get your ball! Get your ball, and Mommy will throw it a little bit. Gotta go get Whiskey's medicine. Hi! Hold on! Let's go get a little bit of medicine for Whiskey. Yeah, they're all like crappy Temu things. Country, are you a dude or a dudette? I think you were a dude, right? I think. I think that's the consensus I got. Hold on, it's a little too much. Oh. There's some stuff for Whiskey. Cough medicine for Whiskey. Wiggle worm or oysters. Wiggle worm. Wiggle worm is what Aura's nickname used to be because of the way she would wiggle on the ground. Butterfly says, Country is my mod on my channel. Hi. Hi, little Lucky. Animal Lover says, I can't wait to hear the rest of the story. I know, me too. I haven't read it in a long time. I kind of forget how exactly it goes. Boop. You go get your ball? I gotta go give this to Whiskey, then we'll throw your ball a few times, then Mama's gonna read a story. Ready? Here. Oh, I don't have my gloves on yet, Loon. It's too cold. You grabbing the ball and not letting go. Look at her grabbing it with her hands. Letting go. Let go. You're not gonna let go from Mama? You're not gonna let go from Mama? Jamie said, did you go live today, Butterfly? I just got home from my iron infusion. He's a man. That's what I thought. I thought you were a man. A dude or a dudette. Hi! Look at your ball. Yeah, this is my first time live. today because I wasn't feeling good most of the day. I was like, I'll just come on later and do the animals and read a story. Just a relaxing day today. The crazy girl. Ugh. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow. I might end up at urgent care if this ear doesn't feel better. I have to wait for my brother to get back with my car because he has the car. I mean, my mom could take me, but she's working tomorrow outside the house too. So my mom's gonna be outside, gone all day tomorrow too. So oh my god, this was all the blood from the bird last night. Her poor little foot. Hi, Whiskey. Yes, I got medicine for you. Here, can I feed it to you out of my hand? Because I like it when you lick my hand. Come on. There. I'm going to let you eat it out of my hand because I think it's sweet. I love his little nose. His little wiggle nose. Lily, you haven't been coughing anymore. It's just Whiskey. Hold on, there's a couple more. Here. There you go. Yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum, yum. You like that, huh? Yeah. And the sweetest boy. Country Living said, sorry, Adventure, I missed your comment. And MJ said, I'm too sick to go live. Jamie said, what's wrong? I think she just has a cold, too. Me and MJ both got bad colds. I think I'm getting an ear infection, but I think MJ's is just a cold. Ghostface says, I got a question. Yeah, bad cold. Sure, what's your question, Ghostface? By the way, love your screen name. I'm planning on going to see the new Scream coming out. I think it comes out the day before or on my birthday, so I'm planning to go see it for my birthday. Do you like scary movies? Whiskey. Hi. What's your favorite scary movie? What's your favorite scary movie? Hello. Hello. I'd like it if you, the one with the bad foot, comes down so I can look at it. You guys don't want to come down and eat? No. Yum, yum, yum. What's your prediction on who the killer is? Have I seen a person named Mellowfur? No, I have not. I think it's Stu. I think Stu's coming back to life. Matthew Lillard's in this one. I'm a Stu believer. They call it something like that. The people who think he didn't die. This chat just got interesting. You like Scream too? MJ get well sued. Yeah, but he got electrocuted by the TV. I think it's Dewey. Well, Dewey got freaking stabbed to death. Like, crazy. He got, like, slaughtered, and didn't his intestines, like, come out? I think getting electrocuted by a TV is more survivable than having your intestines, like, spill out. How many mods are there here? Yeah, there's many. I mean, there's not really that many, but, like, I don't have a lot of subscribers in general, so it, like, ends up being that most of the people who are in here are my mods. We got, what, Jamie, MJ, Butterfly, Pumpkin, Josh. There's, like, maybe 10 tops, but I don't have that many subscribers, so... Who else am I missing? Yeah, there's Butterfly, Jamie. Those were like my first 2 mods ever, were you and Jamie. Then Pumpkin's a mod now. Yeah, Josh became a mod. He was the last one I modded, was Josh. I'm trying to think. Say maybe like 7 or 8 mods. MJ said, I forgot, did his guts get out? Yeah, I think so. I don't remember exactly, but he had some pretty horrific things done to him. In what movie was it, like 5 or 6? No, it wasn't 6. It was 4 or 5. Scream 4 or 5. He had his, like, whole guts taken out. They definitely did him pretty good. I just feel like, yeah, go check on his kill. Remind us what happened. I can't do it because I'll end up getting copyright. But, yeah, I think he had a pretty rough death scene. I feel like Stu just had like a TV fall on his head, which isn't good. But, like, I don't know. I feel like he could survive it. TV on your head. A little bit of electrocution, but you don't know if he actually got fully electrocuted or if it was just like the TV kind of sparking after it fell. Ghostface says, Pumpkin, I heard about him on Sebastian's channel. Well, I'm not going to ask for mod. I'm already mod on 2 channels anyway. Yeah, I don't mod people that I don't know very well. And I already made my last mod I need for a while was our friend Josh, so our lovely friend here and subscriber. So I definitely don't need any more here. We're good. No, I understood what you said. But definitely feel free to stick around. And yeah, I like your channel name. Or your screen name. And yeah, thank you for subscribing. And hi, Alfonso. How are you? Welcome in. But yeah, I think Dewey's dead. But Stu, the thing is, Matthew Lillard's making a comeback in this movie. Like, you know, he's part of the cast and he's been dead. Well, I guess Dewey's coming back too, but I don't know. Like, it feels like because Stu's been dead for so, like, dead, quote unquote, for so long that, I don't know. There's got to be a reason they brought him back. Yeah, he might be a flashback. That's true. Oh, we're talking about a movie, though. Sorry, hon. But it's just a movie. It's a movie that I'm going to see. It's like, I know you probably don't like scary movies, but it's like a horror movie. They call it a slasher. The first time I watched the initial one, I was literally like, I remember the first one came out when I was like 8. And I wasn't supposed to watch it, but me and my girl cousins, like the boy cousins, were all watching it. And so me and the girl cousins all like snuck over. We were supposed, like, our parents sent us outside and we like snuck back in and we like sat like on the stoop, like behind the living room. So like, say like, I'll try to say like the living room would be like over there. And so you walk out the doorway and then you come back in and there was like a stoop where you could sit. So we were like, came in and we like sat on the stoop outside the living room, like on the little stairwell, and then we were like watching, like trying to watch the TV. So we snuck to watch the first Scream when it came out. We watched it at my auntie's house, and only the boy cousins were supposed to watch, but us girl cousins all snuck in to watch it. Because some of the boy cousins were older. You had no watching restrictions. Yeah, we were kind of supposed to, but nobody like really, nobody enforced them. They told us we weren't supposed to, and they kind of ushered us outside, but then nobody was like really checking to make sure that we didn't come back in. So it was basically as good as having no restrictions. It's pretty much the same thing as having no restrictions when nobody's enforcing the restrictions. They're just like, go outside, don't watch this. And then they go and the adults go and do their own thing. And then we go, okay, we go outside and play for like 5 minutes. And then we go, are the parents gone yet? And then we sneak back in and go watch it. The same thing happened with The Lost Boys. That it's like a vampire movie. That one was, I think that one actually traumatized me more than Scream. That last scene where like there's like it's like a bloodbath and there's like, sorry Christine, blood like all over the place. It's like that towards the end where like all the stuff is going down towards like the end. And that one, I think I was a little younger too when that one, because that came out. So that one did me worse than, I had like nightmares for ages after that movie. But Scream wasn't that bad. I had probably a few bad dreams, but not too bad. Yeah, she's grossed out with the movies. MJ said, yeah, plus the new Moby comes out at the end of this month. And oh, when's your birthday? Mine's the 27th. I thought she might hurl, yeah. Country Living said, I'll be right back. Cool. So just because I'm Ghostface, we talk about, really? Yeah, sure. Yeah, so deal with it. We like horror. Well, dude, why make your screen name Ghostface if you aren't into talking about Scream? You even got the Ghostface picture. Your name inspired me to talk about it because I'm planning on going to see it anyway. I gotta get tickets, actually. I don't know, it might be sold out up here. There's only like a very small movie theater. Oh. Although because it's such a small town, there's like a small movie theater, but it's also a small town, so it might not sell out. I'll have to look into getting some tickets because I want to go see it on my birthday. I don't usually do anything on my birthday, so it'll be nice to have something to do. Art the Clown. Yeah, what is Moby? No Pennywise. Yeah, I wasn't as into it. It didn't intrigue me very much. It was an okay movie, but I definitely like the Scream franchise better. I need my gloves, it's getting cold. And throw the ball a few more times for Looney, then we can go in and read. Art the Clown. Jeepers Creepers. I never really watched, I don't think I ever watched Jeepers Creepers. MJ says, yeah, my first horror movie was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That weirdly scared me more. My babysitter introduced me to horror movies. Every time someone died, she would sing, someone kicked the bucket. Pennywise is lame. You obviously haven't seen Artwork is Magic. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Pennywise. I think he's kind of silly. It's only the first one I liked. If I don't like Art the Clown, no plot, just gore. Jeepers Creepers is fine. I haven't seen like any of those. But I watched, what was Nightmare on Elm Street was the first one I saw. I was like way too young to have seen that. I saw it with my dad. I couldn't have been like more than 4. And had like horrible nightmares. Ready? Boop. Yeah, I had horrible nightmares with Nightmare on Elm Street, seeing that at like way too young of an age. Just because it was on, my dad was watching it and I was in the room as like a little kid. And then yeah, the next one that like I chose to watch as like a kid would probably be like the Lost Boys. And that one I was like 6 or 7, something like that. It was before I moved up north, and I moved up north at 9. So, I moved down south to Florida. So this was all before I moved to Florida. So I had to have been younger than 9. I think I was like 6 or 7. I loved the movie, even as a kid, I loved the movie Serial Mom, which is like a cheesy, it's one of those like cheesy horrors. That's another one with Matthew Lillard, the guy who plays Stu. If y'all haven't seen Serial Mom, watch that one. It's hilarious. It's just like it's like a silly horror movie. MJ said, or you might like this newer horror movie. It's filmed from the perspective of a dog. Oh, no, I saw that one. I think, if it's the same one I'm thinking of, what's it called? Good Boy or something like that? That was so sad, though. It wasn't even horror, necessarily. It just was sad. I was crying. I was, like, bawling at the end of that movie. Pumpkin says Looney's being funny, yeah. Looney being silly. Yeah, it was sad. It was all like kind of like a metaphor for his illness. Like all the supernatural stuff. It was very, very sad. MJ said, girl, Marley and Me was sad for dogs. Yeah. I cried. Marley and Me, I cried. Freaking, what was the other one? A Dog's Purpose or A Dog's Life, that one. There's like two of them. The first one. Because I forget which one's the first one. A Dog's Life or A Dog's Purpose. Something like that. Whatever the first one was. I watched it literally like the night after Aura passed away, and it was the worst, possibly the best and worst idea ever. It helped me get all my emotions out, but I definitely cried like a baby. Me and my mom watched it together, just sobbing. All Dogs Go to Heaven. That is my favorite cartoon movie of all time. Ready? Go get it. Actually, if Christine hasn't seen that one, we should watch it when you come to visit. We can cry together, but... Christine, have you seen All Dogs Go to Heaven? It's a cartoon. It is sad, but a lot of Disney movies and those kind of movies have sad parts. Like even The Lion King can get you crying if you're in the right mood. My dog will run off with Paisley. MJ said, I'm in a dog mood, gonna watch oh, I love that movie. You know what I love? The 101 Dalmatians, the real life one with the real dogs. Came out like in the late 90s. Do you remember that one? No, you haven't seen it? We should watch that one too. I know we're gonna watch Inside Out or whatever, that one too. You pick a movie and I'll pick a movie, and we can watch movies on our night together. So I think All Dogs Go to Heaven is going to be my pick. And then you pick one. Yeah, Glenn Close was a great Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, nobody will. She's like a spider, something in the dark. Cruella, Cruella and DeVille. I forget all the words, but she's visiting in May, so near the end of May, late May sometime. Go get it. You've never seen that movie? Which one? All Dogs Go to Heaven or the real life? It's like a live action where it has like real dogs and stuff. The 101 Dalmatians. Which one have you not seen, Jamie? Or both? Hey, a damaged delinquent in the house. All of them. I definitely suggest them. Those are good movies. Especially All Dogs Go to Heaven. I mean, if you've seen 101 Dalmatians, like the regular cartoon one, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's awesome because it's real dogs. And like how well they trained the dogs. And like even like there's a horse, because remember there's that scene on the farm where there's the horse. So like, and there's a cat, and like just they have like all the characters. They did that movie so well, like the live action. And like back then, like having like I think that was one of like the first times they like translated a Disney movie to live action. Aside from like the princess movies, they've done that before with princess movies, but like for an animal movie that they've translated back then, it was like a big deal. Like how well they were able to do that. And like even like nowadays when they make quote unquote live action movies, they're like using mostly CGI. And it's pretty obvious too, which is like sad. But back then it was like, it was all real dogs. They freaking trained them like crazy. It was awesome. Yeah, bad, exactly, MJ, bad CGI at that. So it's like, Jesus. It's like, go back to the 90s. If they were doing it well in the 90s, how are they like not doing it well now? They've like regressed in terms of filmmaking. When they said they were coming out with like the live action Lion King, I was like excited. I was like, oh my God, real lions. And then it was all like crappy CGI. And I'm like, eh. I mean, I get it would be hard to like train actual lions to make a movie like that. But I don't know. If you're not going to do it right, then just don't do it at all, is my feeling, I guess. Either do it right or don't do it at all. TJ said hanging out in country living, bruises are coming out. Sweetie, the lions don't speak people. Right? Yeah, but neither do dogs. And they were able to do that movie without, they like were able to just translate it without the dogs speaking. I mean, I guess in the 100 Wild Dalmatians, you can kind of get the point without the dog speaking. I guess in The Lion King, you probably need more of the verbal, the actual, like, dialogue between the animals and stuff. But in 100 Wild Dalmatians, they just didn't even have the dogs speak. They would just give, like, knowing glances and head tilts and stuff. MJ said, dude, a movie my son watched on repeat was, a movie my son watched on repeat was Spying Guinea Pigs. What is that? Never heard of Spying Guinea Pigs. Pumpkin says, The Lion King is my favorite movie. Yes, The Lion King is one of my favorite movies too. That's why I have a Simba. My favorite, like, stuffy from when I was a kid is my Simba, and I still have him. I couldn't sleep without my Simba. I also saw The Lion King, like, on pre-release with the Girl Scouts, which was cool. I was able to go to, like, a pre-screening of it before they actually released it. It was like, you know how sometimes they do, it's like a test audience, they'll, like, play movies to, like, see how people react to it, and then they'll, like, change things. It was like one of those type of things. So it was like a pre-screening to see how it went over with audiences, and the Girl Scouts were able to get, I guess, like a ticket to it. So they took our troop to go see the movie before it even came out. So I was a Lion King fan before it was released. I was like waiting on bated hooks for that movie to be released, because I had seen it with the Girl Scouts, and I was like, this movie's gonna be so awesome, guys. Oh my god. So I was like talking up the movie to everybody before it even came out. Well, that was me when I was like 7. Floxetine Belcher says, aw, what a cutie. Butterfly says, hello, my Jamie. Sure, art is stupid. Looney, why are you eating the snow? You trying to dig a hole? You trying to dig to Canada? I don't think you can dig to Canada. You might be able to dig to China. Looney's digging to China. Pumpkin said, I like Toy Story too. Yes, Toy Story is a good one. That was another one that was like one of the first, back in the day, it was like one of the first, well, Pixar, like the first 3D type movie that came out, because it was like, Pixar was like a huge deal. It's cool to like look back and think about like how you were there around like the changing of different, like you think, oh, when I was a kid it was so much different, everything was like, and then this one thing came out and it changed everything, like how they do, like now that type of style of movie is so regular, but back then it was such like a new novel thing to have those like 3D animated movies. Before that, everything was like that flat drawn pictures. Yeah, the golden age of animation. Exactly. It's pretty cool. MJ said, you know, they use Swahili as the language. It's funny because Scar's name in Swahili is Google it for a laugh and you get why he's pissy. Scar's name in Swahili. Does Scar mean something different in Swahili? TJ said, hey, MJ, my bruises are pretty colors. I kind of like that too, TJ. That's cool. I like when I get bruises and they turn... It makes the bruises more fun. It's like you're hurting, but then, you know, it's the plus side to hurting is that you get fun bruises to poke at and be like, ooh, it's turning purple now. Now it's kind of green. Now it's yellow. MJ said, oh boy, does it ever. Ready, Loon? You want to throw a couple more? Ready? Ready? Come on, let's go. Come on. Touch. Good job. Go get it. You don't want to go get it? You only ran halfway. We'll have to go look it up together when I go in. Looney. Mama can't stay out here that much longer, so my ears are starting to hurt with the cold again. You ready? You gonna throw one more? She just wants to dig. You just want to dig in the snow. Hear a plane up there. It's a bird, it's a plane. There he is. It's a plane. MJ said, sorry, it's his original birth name. That's the punchline. Hi, sweet girl. Oh. What do you mean his original birth name? Did he have a different name other than Scar? There we go. Scar is Kovu. Oh, yeah, Scar is Kovu. Well, his son, right? His son is Kovu, and it means Scar. But his religion... Oh, I see. Taka means trash or waste. Yes, there was a... Was it a book? Or there was a different movie. Yes. There was like a different movie of The Lion King that touched on his... And I think there was a book, too, that touched on like the backstory of Mufasa and Scar when they were kids. And then Scar's son was named Kovu in the second movie. Do you guys see the second one? Taki gonna have to use that one. Yeah, Mufasa wasn't part of his pride. Yeah, exactly. There was like a whole backstory of like their childhood. I forget the whole thing, but there was a backstory. There might be conflicting backstories, because I remember one of them was like him and Mufasa were brothers, but it was like only one of like the eldest son or whatever becomes king, so the other one, it's like going off of like when male lions, like when one, like there can only be basically one lead male of the pride and the other one gets pushed out. So it like a lot of times Disney will try to like incorporate actual animal behavior into things when they write movies like that. So they were kind of taking into account like the way that a male lion pride would actually work, where like if there's a male lion takes over the pride, they kick out all the other males basically. So Scar was kind of pushed aside. Yes, I did know that. Did you know lions can eat other lions? Yes, when the male takes over a pride, they will kill and eat all the cubs too from... It's very sad. They'll... Like, if it's a female lion that has cubs, they'll kill the male lion, like, in battle, in their fight, and then or run him off, whatever works. And then they'll actually kill and eat any of the babies from that lion and re-impregnate the female with his own cubs. It's very disturbing, but MJ was like, people were like, what happened to Mufasa's corpse? And I'm like, one scene where Scar is talking, you see a lion skeleton. Yeah, well, plus the hyenas. Him and the hyenas. They stripped the corpse. It's not pretty. Disney's obviously not going to show that, but that's that's what happens, you know, in nature. Dang, now I want to watch Mufasa. Country Living said Courtney House Piper. I know we're talking about like disturbing lion behavior, but animals are weird. Did you know that what is it? Seals or not seals? Otters, sea otters, something like that. They like will rape baby seals or something like that. It's not disturbing. I think it's sea otters. Everyone's like, otters are so cute. And I'm like, you don't know what they do. Yeah, dolphins are rapey too. Noni. Yeah, they like rape baby seals. It's disturbing. Alright, Looney's gonna have her ball. Are you gonna come in? Mama's going in because my ears hurt. The cold's making them hurt. Yeah, you coming? Okay, you can come in. Good girl. I ask her if she wants to come in or stay out. But sometimes she likes to just sit outside for a little bit. She says, no, I want to come in with Mommy. I want to come in with Mommy. Country Living said, Winchester ran all day and is still running. What time is it there? Is it late like it is here? Ooh. Hold on, let's get Ludi. Oh, it's so... Hi, Ludi. Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. Let's get all this stuff off of me. Strip down again. Animals are very interesting. Octopus penis. It breaks off after mating and they die. Who's another one that does that? Oh, praying mantises. They like rip each other's heads off. I think the female rips the male's heads off after they mate, something like that. There's a lot of animals that like value sex more than their life, apparently. If I knew that I was going to get my head ripped off after mating, I'd be like, no thank you. I think I'll be single. Some animals, after their babies are born, they're eaten by their babies. Ooh, ouch. What animals do that? I've never heard of that one. Well, except for like bugs. Sometimes the bugs do that. I don't know about, well, I guess bugs are technically animals. They're in the kingdom Animalia. They're just insecticus, whatever. Bugs are technically animals. I always think of mammals when I hear animals, but... Hi, Luna. Luna. Look at this sweet girl. Oh. Yeah. The sweetest baby. I had to blow my nose again. Oh. Hi. And sweet Lucky. Oh. Hi. Hi. You checking on baby Lucky? You checking on baby Lucky? Dear Lord Ari. Baby Lucky. Why, what'd I do? I didn't do nothing. Oh, I gotta blow my nose. Oh, you know what? I have tissue over here. Okay. All right, we're gonna make a smoothie, and then we'll go sit down and drink my smoothie and read a book. Stratty. My Stratty. Hi. Because I don't really have anything else to drink, so we're gonna make a smoothie. Hi. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Hopefully, so this is going to this, right? Fuchsia Poops. What are we reading? We're reading the Phantom Tollbooth. Have you been following along? I don't know if you've been there when we've been reading it, but we're almost done with it now. I've made a couple other posts, story time things. We've been reading like 5 to 8 chapters a night. So we're getting close to the end, so I think we'll finish it tonight. Haley likes gold poop only. Oh, I only like certain types of narration, but I like that you do reading. What are certain types of narration? What other types of narration are there? Oh, it's just reading a book. But yeah, it's like a chapter book, not like, I know Butterfly reads just like short books. Mine's a chapter book. Like ones with music and tones. Oh, I see. Yeah, I do voices, or at least I try. I've thought about when it's all done to go back through and download my things, because like they're part of live streams, some of them. So I've been thinking if I go back and download my live streams, and then I can put them through my editor and just edit out for this one. Most of them I've done haven't been part of like a full stream. I've been make sure to like stop and do it just the story at the end. So I can get this juice thing open. But like for this one, I'm kind of going into the story at the end. But I would make like divide it up and either divide it by chapter or just put it all together in one book read. And then like add some light background music behind it, stuff like that. But so that it cuts out any times that I'm talking like back and forth with you guys at the end, and it'll just be a straight run through of the story. So people who just want to listen to the story can do that. Jamie said, what's for dinner? Leftover tacos, but right now I'm making a smoothie because I don't have anything to drink here. I'm trying to get this orange juice container open. It's not, it's like stuck. Let me get this orange juice container to open. We're going to have leftover tacos for dinner. Jesus Christ. Got my leftover tacos. Yeah, you weren't here yesterday, right? I keep forgetting if you were here or not. Yeah, I was looking for my little rubber thing that I use to grip. I don't know where it is. It's not over here. It always vanishes. I have a little rubber gripper thing. Like one of those opener things, but I don't know where the heck it went. You think a rubber glove will work? I don't even know where the other one of these rubber gloves is. My mom was over here cleaning. I don't know what she did with all my stuff. Oh, here's one. There's the other rubber glove. Yeah, I don't know where she put my little opener thing. Here, we'll try with this. No, it's not gripping. Oh, there it goes. I got it. Thank you. Courtney says, my scissors have a can thing on the end. Great for opening containers. I couldn't find the supersized shells today. Alright, what do you mean supersized shells? Supersized shells? Oh, the big, the taco shells, you mean. Well, that's a bummer. Well, you wanted the big taco salad shells, like the wide ones. They're like a bowl. And then we got OJ. Let me make sure this coconut milk is still good. It smells fine. And it tastes fine. I looked for the ones you had. Oh, okay. Yeah, they don't always have the large ones. Sometimes they just have the small ones. I mean, the other ones are the same thing. They're just smaller, so you can't fit as much in them. Pumpkin says, "Oh no, I just heard an owl. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. All right, we got berries. So we got OJ, coconut milk, berries, yogurt. Where's my yogurt? A little bit of yogurt. I don't need to put too much, but a little bit of yogurt. Hold on. I don't know if this yogurt's any good either. I get like stuff on the edges here. Get down, Looney. Yogurt. Let's make it a little creamier. Looney, what you got? What you got over there? Let's see what that dang dog's got. What'd you steal, Looney? What'd you steal? Oh, she's got my coconut milk container. It's empty, silly. Steal my coconut milk container. You want to chew on my coconut milk? Silly girl. Silly girl. Silly girl. Yogurt on the counter. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Alright, we're going to get some banana. Asante sana, squish banana. We have a banana. I leave them in the, I know it looks shriveled, but I leave them in the skin when I freeze them. Because look, then when I open them up, they're not all brown. Just run them under warm water for a second. Courtney says Stratus is cute. Yes, he is. He's a very cute cat. You run him under warm water for a second because it's frozen. I just help it peel it. Watch, I know it looks all brown and shrivelly, but when you go to peel it, it'll be better. That's why I leave them in the peel when I go to freeze them. So make a slit down the side. And then open it up. Cut that top off. There's just some of the skin stuck to it still, but see, the goats can have that. I don't know where the rest of that is. That's still part of the skin that's on there, but watch. You get all that skin off. See See, then you get the skin off and it actually looks like a nice fresh banana in there better than if you take it out of the skin, it gets all nasty and brown all over. Like the whole thing turns brown. So that's how I do my bananas so they don't turn brown. Because I don't like when my bananas are all brown and gross. It's better when they're nice and fresh inside. See, nice and fresh. So that's my tip if you want to freeze bananas. MJ said, what the heck is that? Yeah, if you want to freeze bananas and freeze them with the skin on. Yes, banana bread is good too. Country says, I like to freeze bananas and then let them thaw and make banana bread. Yep, you can do that too. I was just giving a tip for how to, a good way to freeze them where you don't, you know, you don't have to have them get all brown and gross. Courtney says, no bananas for me. They just add sweetness. Make it a little more sweet. Alright, and we get a cup of, hi Lucky, berries. Ooh. A half cup. Get a little extra. There. Let me see, what else do I put in here? I might need a little more OJ because it's getting a little full. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of, I got moringa. Where's my other, those are the dog treats. Maca. I think that's caffeinated. I have this berry powder stuff. I don't know where it is. I'll need some right here. Kratom. I'm like surprised people get addicted to this stuff. This kratom. I've had it in my cabinet like forever. People use it for like energy or pain relief. They kind of use it for both. Pain relief mostly when I really need it, but people get addicted to it, and I don't find it like that addicting. I've had this in my cabinet for like a year. Just only use it when I need it. Alright, let's see. It might be in here. Yes, here it is. It's my berry stuff. I might have to, oh, here it is. This one will work better. I can find the other little piece of it that goes on top. Let me see. I don't know which one I have. Lucky. Lucky, lucky, luckers. Lucky, lucky, luckers. Let's see. I gotta blend some of this because it's all hard. Butterfly says, I hate green beans. I hate all veggies and most fruits. Ooh, we wouldn't get along. You wouldn't like to eat at my house. I love veggies and fruit. I love that stuff. Yeah, this stuff's hard and it's like hard as a rock. Like a big ball. But it does taste good if I can get it to turn into like a giant gummy. It's fruit. It got like all gummy together. I gotta cut it up and put it through the blender thing. It would work better, I think, in this one, but I don't know where the cap for that one is. Let me see. Hold on, let me just see if that one doesn't work as well. Looney be nice. Let's see if it's in my mom's, like everything else has been in her dishwasher. Unless it's in here. I don't think so. Huh. Looney, don't touch my stuff over there. Keep. Yep, I think that's it. There we go. Just need this. What are you doing, kitty? What are you trying to get under here? Oh, pork bone. And give that to the dog. Doggy can have that. Doggy, you want this? Here. Yeah, take it. Come on. Come on, get it over here. Bring it over here, Loon. Bring it where I can see you, though. Go, go. You can eat that, but you gotta eat it supervised. I can only eat bones supervised. We'll put Olaf on. Yeah, you were sitting outside in the cold. I told you to go put a sweater on. So go put a sweater on, honey. I said, what are you doing out in the cold? Go put your big pajama hoodie thing on. All right, yeah, we're gonna try to like grind this chunk of berry stuff up. They're goji berries. But it got all smushed together. Goji berry. They're very good for you. They have like antioxidants and stuff. There we go. It's kind of working. I need to... to chop it a little smaller, I think. Oh no, it's going. There you go. It's going. It's just taking a little bit. It's chopping. She chopping. She chopping. She chopping. She chopping. MJ says, hello, I can see you know I don't like fruit. I do like leafy greens though. Courtney says, oh cool, MJ, don't tell Pumpkin you're coloring an owl. I sent Pumpkin, when I sent her gift, I sent her a coloring page of an owl to tease her. Yeah, when I sent Pumpkin a gift, I sent her I did the same thing for Christine. I had sent them coloring pages, and one of the coloring pages I sent to Pumpkin was an owl, just to tease her. I don't know, she's just afraid of owls. I don't know that there's a backstory. She's just been afraid of them. So then in the summer, whenever I heard the owls, I would go, oh no, they're coming to get you, Julie. Because in the summertime, there's a pair of owls that live behind my house. Why would she marry the owl if she doesn't like him and she's scared of him? That's kind of an abusive relationship. I gotta wrap my wrist again. It's starting to hurt. Pumpkin's in an abusive relationship with an owl. Okay, it's almost done. Well, most of it. There's still like a little piece that didn't finish, but it's goji berry powder. Some of it's still sticking to the sides here. I hate smoothie. It has the texture of vomit. Mine don't, because I make them nice and creamy. Where's the water coming out of there? Oh, it must have been from, she just took it out of the wash. It still had some water in there. I'm like, oh yeah, it just came out of the... Mine don't. I make mine nice and creamy. That's why I put a little bit of yogurt, coconut milk, and you gotta blend it up real good. Not too much ice. You gotta use fruit instead of ice. The frozen fruits instead of actual ice. Make it more creamy. That's why I freeze the bananas. It cuts back on the amount of ice I have to use. Gummy. Okay. Now make it nice and smooth. Let's see. Milkshake Easy Clean. Puree smoothie. Is this not working? No, sometimes I have to get this in right. This thing's a pain in the butt trying to get it in. That's what I hate about this blender. This does not go in right. You have to like get it lined up exactly right to get it in. There you go. I think. Oh, okay, we got it. Puree smoothie. Get my liquefy. All right, so I go puree and then liquefy. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Get it actually smooth. I don't like it if it's chunky either, so we get it nice and smooth like ice cream. There we go. Does that look chunky? No. There we go. Oh, that's good. Yeah, no chunkies. I wouldn't like it chunky either. No chunks. No chunks in my smoothies. I'm big on texture too, so I make sure everything's, look at that, nice and creamy. I'm gonna blow chunks if I drink that. No, it's so good. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, I need to put this, I gotta put the rest of it like in the freezer to stay cold. Where's the second one? Here we go. I'm just gonna pour the rest of it into this to stay cold. It's like one of those thermoses. Get this. Now, if you use protein powder, sometimes it can get a little more chunky. You have to like be a little more careful, but this doesn't have any protein powder in it right now. If you're going to add protein powder, you do have to be more careful. It can take on a more chunky texture. You really got to blend it a lot to break up all the chunks. But if it's just fruit, I'm pretty good at getting a pretty decent consistency when it's just a fruit drink. And yeah, this one's just a drink because I don't have anything to drink here except for OJ, and I didn't want to just keep drinking OJ every night. Thermos. Put it in the freezer for a little while and then put it in the fridge. Alright, so we'll go read the book for a little bit, and then after I read some chapters to the book, then I'm going to get off and go have my dinner. But this will hold me over for a little bit. I'm going to need to get a tissue to wipe my mouth, because every time I drink this, I'm going to get all... Okay, guys, it's story time. Let's get our book. Oh, let me get a tissue, like I said. Get my light here so I can have some light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Looney, don't touch my smoothie. Don't you touch my smoothie. That's my smoothie. Don't touch my smoothie. She trying to touch my smoothie. Animal friends are up there because, like I said, they can't come down because Looney steals them. Looney steals our animal friends when they come down. Hi, Lucky. Alright, then I can turn my lights down a little bit. This for my mouth. Dab my mouth. Girl. Get a hand towel, it'll last longer. No, it's just a little paper towel. It's not like I'm getting it all over my face, just gotta dab the edges of my mouth every now and then. Paper towel, I meant, not a tissue. This tissue is just for my nose. Alright, let me blow my nose before I start. Okay. Alright, here we go. The Phantom Tollbooth. I believe we left off around, let me think. What chapter did we leave off? Does this go up this? I don't know if this tripod extends much further or no. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can extend this tripod. No, it doesn't really extend. It's just like a little tabletop tripod. Just a little low. Hold on. I'm going to do what I did before. I'll take it off. Hold on, guys. I'm going to just take my phone case off. Give us a recap. All right, hold on. So, oh, sorry about that. Just ended up, oh, sorry about that. Just ended up hitting something while I was trying to fix my phone. I need a little bit of lotion for my hands because they're all dry from going outside. I won't be able to turn the pages with my hands that dry. Okay. So I think we were on like chapter 15 or something like that. It's kind of a crazy book for MJ if you haven't been following along. It's like similar to, it's like a lot of wordplay and stuff like that. It's very linguistic. It's a very linguistic, happy book. But it kind of gives like Alice in Wonderland vibes, the way the story is. How it's kind of like just a little nuts. the stories kind of go off in different directions, but it's like an adventure tale. So we start with this boy named Milo, who he lives kind of like a little boring life. He's kind of always just doing the same thing. Feels like he's just drifting along through life. And one day, this little toll booth shows up. It's like a play toll booth that shows up at his doorstep in his bedroom. It just kind of shows up one day. And so he sets it up and he's like, oh, what is this? And he starts playing with it, and it takes him to like a faraway land, a special land that he ends up going through and trying to figure out. Abby says, I read the Phantom Tollbooth in 4th grade. It was really good. Yes. So 5th grade, I think, is the first time I read it, in 5th grade. And then I've read it like a million times throughout the years because it's one of my favorite books of all time. So it's just so good. So I'll try to find it. So this is like the little toll booth that he sets up. It's literally like a little booth, like going through a toll booth at the, when you're driving and you go through a toll booth. So it's literally like a little play toll booth that he drives through. And he has his little toy car and he drives through it. And when he drives through it, it takes him to like a magical land. So far he's been, he went to the land of Dictionopolis, which is a land that like has to do with like words and stuff. There's a king that's like obsessed with words, and there's a king that's obsessed with numbers. So the king of Dictionopolis is obsessed with words, and he thinks words are like the most important thing in the world. And the king of Digitopolis, the two words are he's obsessed with numbers, but they're brothers, and so they fight about everything because they're like, oh, you know, numbers are better, they're this, they're that. And the other king of Dictionopolis is saying, you know, words are better. And so they used to have two sisters who were like basically like their adopted sisters. They showed up in the kingdom one day, and the sisters' name were Rhyme and Reason. So because the two brothers were always fighting, they would go to the sisters to basically like break up their arguments and decide who was right. But they would get angry and they banished the sisters from the kingdom because at one point the sisters kind of said like, you know, hey, like, you know, kind of like you're both right. Like in some instances, this is better, and in some instances, this is better. So the sisters' name are Rhyme and Reason because they're very reasonable young ladies. But because they were trying to make the kingdom better, basically they got banished. But now everything's been going wrong in the kingdoms. So this little boy named Milo and his group, there's a dog named Talk, he's a watchdog. He has literally a watch on him. Let's look at a picture of Talk. So that's Talk, the watchdog. He's a watch. He's a watchdog. So he, him and Milo, the little boy, and this other character called the Humbug. He's kind of like just like a grumpy little guy who like, I don't know. He just kind of got roped into it. They're all going on this adventure now to try to rescue the princesses because the kings at this point are starting to realize that everything's going wrong in the kingdom, and it hasn't been right since they banished the princesses. But they banished the princesses to such a faraway land that like has all these monsters surrounding it that no one wants to go and get them back. So Milo and Talk and the watchdog kind of got roped into it because they want to go help the kingdom. And I don't know, they got talked into it somehow through a lot of like roundabout wordplay, because this book does a lot of that, where they kind of talk in circles and then they just like kind of were like, oh, I guess we're doing this now. So that's where they're on their way now to go. They got out of Dictionopolis. They're on their way to Digitopolis, but on the way they've stopped at what's it called? There's like a few different places they've stopped at so far on the way. Oh, those are the princesses. Rhyme and Reason. Butterfly's lurking. Welcome back, Butterfly. What was it, like Confusion or something like that? There was a place that they stopped at, a couple different places. Oop. Oh, Reality. There's a place called Reality and Illusions. So they've gone through this place called Reality and Illusions, and that was an interesting chapter. I like that. There was the guy who's the giant and the midget. He's a giant and a midget and a tall man and a short man. And it kind of looks like it's all the same guy. He says, "I'm a giant. I'm the tallest giant in the world. No, I'm the midget, but I'm the tallest midget in the world." And I'm the fat man. I'm the skinniest fat man, and I'm the fattest skinny man. So it's kind of funny. So yeah, he's the thin man and the fat man. And then Milo goes, "I think you're all the same, man." And he goes, "Shh, nobody's supposed to know." So we've gotten through some pretty funny stuff. I think one of the last time we read, we had the symphony. So this is the conductor, and he plays the daylight. So he like conducts an orchestra that the orchestra controls the days of the week and everything. So it controls the weather and everything else. So he plays the sunlight and the sunset. So last time Milo took over the orchestra for a minute. He didn't tell anyone. And he lost a whole week because he took over the orchestra, but nobody knows. So there's a whole week missing that nobody knows about because Milo didn't tell anybody that he took over the orchestra. Trying to get to where we are. Discord and Din. Okay, then there was Discord and Din. I'm just trying to give like a recap of where we were. Those are the guys who make lots of noise and clanging. What, that you love me? You can do that, but no nicknames. Hold on, I get it. Thank you. Yes, one love. You get one love. Love you too, hon. Sorry, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm trying not to do that on camera. So there was the guys that were making lots of noise. It was Discord and Din was the last people, and they were making lots and lots of noise. Oh, and then what was this? There was the city that was very quiet. So they stole the sound from all the city. Nobody could talk. So that's what happened. I think the last thing that happened was they were rescuing the sound. From this day forward, the Valley of Sound shall be silent. Since sound is no longer appreciated, I hereby abolish it. Please return all unused amounts to the fortress immediately. So there was a sound keeper, and she took all the sound from this city, so nobody was allowed to talk. So that was, I think, the last place that they were, where they were in this, basically a silent city, because the sound keeper stole all the sound from everybody. So Milo rescued a sound by going like, "But," he like started to say a word. You know when you like start to say something and you cut yourself off, you're like, "But," oh. So he started to say the word "but," and then he clamped his mouth shut. So he's like, "But," and then he kept the sound in. So that's how he rescued the sound. He took it out of the soundkeeper's vault with him. And then he released it to the town. So now the town got all their sound back. So I think that's the last place that we were. I'm trying to... Unfortunate conclusions. Yeah, so that's him releasing his sound into a cannon. It's the sound that was trapped in his mouth. And he released it into a cannon, and then they blew the cannon at the Soundkeeper's vault, and they blew it up. So they released all the sounds. So now the town can talk again. Oh, thank you, Court. Courtney says she loves when I read stories. Yeah, it's fun. And I love this book. This book is really good, so. Okay, let's see. Canby. Oh, then there's that guy Canby. We did get past this. Canby. They got stuck on an island of, what was it called? Oh, Expectations. The Island of Expectations. So he said, but how did we get here? There's an island they got stuck at because they jumped to expectations when they were in the car. They were driving in their car heading towards Digitopolis, and then, or they jumped to conclusions, sorry. It's called Jumping to Conclusions, so it's the Island of Conclusions. Yeah, we're reading the story, hun. Well, I'm giving y'all a recap to get to where we are. Yeah, the Island of Misfit Toys. I liked that. That was a good movie with the Santa movie and the Islands of Misfit Toys. So here, I'll read like a little excerpt where he said, but how did we get here? Asked Milo, who was still a bit puzzled by being there at all. You jumped, of course, explained Canby. That's the way most everyone gets here. It's really quite simple. Every time you decide something without having a good reason, you jump to conclusions. Whether you like it or not, it's such an easy trip to make that I've been here hundreds of times. But this is such an unpleasant-looking place, Milo remarked. Yes, that's true, admitted Canby. It does look much better from a distance. As he spoke, at least 8 or 9 more people sailed onto the island from every direction possible. Well, I'm going to jump right back, announced the humbug, who took 2 or 3 practice bends and leaped as far as he could and landed in a heap about 2 feet away. And then Canby says, that won't do at all. You can never jump away from conclusions. Getting back is not so easy. That's why we're so terribly crowded here. So then he says the only way to get back from from conclusions is to swim, and that's a very long and very hard way. So they had to swim back. So I think, yes, that's where we left off, is they swam back from the island of conclusions that they just kind of leapt there because they weren't thinking. It's all like metaphor and stuff. You know, like when you leap to conclusions. It's like when you jump to conclusions. It's that. The book is all metaphors of like that kind of everyday stuff. All right. So now we are on, let's see. Oh, my eyes are bothering me too. All right, here, we'll read the last page and then we'll start chapter 14. So I'll kind of like read the last page of where we were. So this is like where they were getting out of, where they were coming back from the Island of Conclusions. So he said, that's what keeps them here, but I wouldn't worry too much about it, for you can swim all day in the sea of knowledge and still come out completely dry. Most people do. But you must excuse me now. I have to go greet the new arrivals. As you know, I'm friendly as can be. Over the humbug's strenuous objections, Milo and Talk decided to swim, and protesting loudly, the humbug dragged along with them towards the sea. Canby hurried off to answer more questions, and the last thing he heard was heard to say was, "Pardon me, can you tell me who I am?" They swam and swam and swam for what seemed like hours, and only Talk's firm encouragement kept Milo struggling through the icy water. At last they reached the shore, though thoroughly exhausted, and except for the bug, completely soaked. That wasn't bad at all, said Humbug. straightening his tie and brushing himself off. I must visit there again. I'm sure you will, gasped Milo. But from now on, I'm going to have a very good reason before I make up my mind about anything. You can lose too much time jumping to conclusions. The car was just where they'd left it, and in a moment they were on their way again as the road turned away from the sea and began its long climb into the mountains. The warm sun and billowy breezes dried them as they went. I hope we reach Digitopolis soon, said Milo, thinking of the breakfast they hadn't eaten. I wonder how far it is. Yeah, hon, you gotta stop having anxiety. We're just reading a story. I don't want to have to time you out, but remember we said that if you can't handle your anxiety, we can give you a timeout, okay? So you can hang out and listen to the story, or you can take a timeout and still listen to the story, but just not have to type. I want to go misfit the toys, not go to Alcatraz. Yeah, no Alcatraz. Just visit the Misfit Toys. So mods, give her a chance to calm down, but if she can't control her anxiety, she can get a timeout, because we've already talked about it with her, and she said, you know, even Christine said that a timeout might be good for her. So take a minute, try and relax and just enjoy the story. I don't want to have to time you out, but if you need a minute to go and get timed out, that's okay. Just let the mods know, okay? All right, but we're going to continue on. Yeah, exactly. Timeouts aren't a punishment. They're just a calm down time. We give you a 24-hour and then you come back tomorrow. All right, hon. Just listen to the story. I can't talk while I'm telling a story. I can't read the comments and talk as much. So I'm trying to read the story to you guys. But I love you. I love all of you. Come on. All right. Chapter 14 is called The Dodecadron Leads the Way. And this is the first new chapter. I was just reading the end of the chapter we left off on. Yeah, Mother Goose has got a story time. All right. The Dodecadron Leads the Way. Up ahead, the road divided into three, and as if in reply to Milo's question, an enormous road sign pointing in all three directions. So, like, road signs going this way, and that way. Road sign going, yeah. Enormous road sign pointing in all three directions, stated clearly, Digitopolis, 5 miles, 16,000 rods. 8,800 yards, 26,400 feet, 316,800 inches, 633,600 half inches, and then some. It's kind of funny. Actually, you can't really see it that way. Let me go this way. So that's the sign. That funny? Dodecadron. I think it is. It's like a 10-sided figure, I think. That's a word. Decadron is a real word. Yeah, I think it's a 10, I think. Is it 10-sided? Maybe 15? I don't know. It's like a figure. You know how they have like an octagon and a polygon? I think dodecadron is a 10-sided figure. Oh, dodecadron. You forgot to pronounce the he part. Dodecadron. Dodecahedron. Oh, dodecahedron. Dodecahedron. Oh, yeah, I always just pronounced it dodecadron. I guess there is an extra hedron. But yeah, I always just pronounced it dodecadron. That's probably not the right way to pronounce it. Is that a transformer? Yeah, kind of, right? Okay, so it has all the mileage there. It says 5 miles, 16,000 rods, 800,000 yards, blah, 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 blah. So Milo says, let's travel by miles, advised the humbug. It's shorter. Let's travel by half inches, suggested Milo. It's quicker. But which road should we take? Asked Talk. It must make a difference. As they argued, a most peculiar little figure stepped nimbly from behind the sign and approached them, talking all the while. Yes, indeed, indeed it does. Certainly, yes, it does make a difference, undoubtedly. He was constructed, for that's really the only way to describe him, of a large assortment of lines and angles connected together into one solid, many-sided shape, somewhat like a cube that's had all its corners cut off and then had all its corners cut off again. Each of the edges was neatly labeled with a small letter, and each of the angles with a large one. He wore a handsome beret on top, and peering intently from one of his several surfaces was a very serious face. Perhaps if you look at the picture, you'll know what I mean. So that's the dodecahedron. He has lots of faces. Look at all his funny faces, and he's got a little beret. He's funny looking. Yeah, I'm leaving that pic up for a minute because he's so weird looking. The crazy Frenchman. Oh yeah, we all pronounced Hermione wrong. Hermione. It was Hermione or Hermione. 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 That's an ugly transformer. Okay, so perhaps if you look at the picture, you'll know what I mean. When he reached the car, the figure doffed his cap and recited in a loud, clear voice, "My angles are many, my sides are not few. I'm the dodecahedron. Who are you?" I'm going to just pronounce it the way I pronounce it because I'm going to get mixed up. "What's a dodecahedron?" inquired Milo, who was barely able to pronounce the strange word. Yeah, I apparently can't pronounce it either. "What's a dodecahedron?" inquired Milo, who was barely able to pronounce the strange word. "See for yourself," he said, turning around slowly. "A dodecahedron is a mathematical shape with 12 faces." Oh, it has 12. Okay. I was like thinking it was 10. It's 12. Just as he said it, 11 other faces appeared, one on each surface, and each one wore a different expression. "I usually use one at a time," he confided, as all but the smiling one disappeared again. "It saves wear and tear. What are you called?" "Milo," said Milo. "That is an odd name," he said, changing his smiling face for a frowning one. "And you only have one face." "Is that bad?" asked Milo, making sure it was still there. He's like, "My face still here?" "You'll soon wear it out, not using it for you'll soon wear it out using it for everything," replied the dodecahedron. "Now I have one for smiling, one for laughing, one for crying, one for frowning, one for thinking, one for pouting, and 6 more besides. Is everyone with one face called a Milo?" No, I haven't read Magic Treehouse. I think I've heard of it, though. "Oh, no," Milo replied. "Some are called Henry or George, or Robert or John, or lots of other things." "How terribly confusing," he cried. "Everything here is called exactly what it is. The triangles are called triangles, the circles are called circles, and even the same numbers have the same name. Why, can you imagine what would happen if we named all the 2s Henry, or George, or Robert, or John, or lots of other things? You'd have to say Robert plus John equals 4. And if the 4's name were Albert, things would be hopeless." "I never thought of it that way," Milo admitted. "Then I suggest you begin at once," admonished the dodecahedron from his admonishing face. "For here in Digitopolis, everything is quite precise." "Then perhaps you can help us decide which road to take," said Milo. "By all means," he replied happily. "There's nothing to it. If a small car carrying 3 people at 30 miles an hour for 10 minutes, along a road 5 miles long at 11:35 in the morning, starts at the same time as 3 people who have been traveling in a little automobile at 20 miles an hour for 15 minutes on another road, exactly twice as long as one half the distance of the other, while a dog, a bug, and a boy travel an equal distance in the same time, or the same distance in an equal time, along a third road in mid-October, then which one arrives first, and which is the best way to go? 17, shouted the humbug, scribbling furiously on a piece of paper. It's like those crazy, crazy word problems. I think it's making fun of those, how they do those word problems in school. Like if a car traveling this much and blah, blah, blah. I know, I'm not good at math either. Crad paper and the calculator. Yeah, 17, shouted the humbug, scribbling furiously on a piece of paper. Well, I'm not sure, but Milo stammered after several minutes of frantic figuring. You'll have to do better than that, scolded the dodecadron, or you'll never know how far you've gone or whether or not you've even gotten there. I'm not very good at problems, admitted Milo. What a shame, sighed the dodecadron. They're so very useful. Why, did you know that if a beaver 2 feet long, with a tail a foot and a half long, can build a dam 12 feet high and 6 feet wide in 2 days, all you would need to build a boulder dam is a beaver 6 feet 8, 68. All you would need to build a boulder dam is a beaver 68 feet long with a 51-foot tail? Where would you find a beaver that big? Growled the humbug, as his pencil point snapped. I'm sure I don't know, he replied, but if you did, you'd certainly know what to do with them. That's absurd, objected Milo, whose head was spinning from all the numbers and questions. Corny a beaver. All you need is a beaver. MJ says, all you need is a shotgun and the Frenchman. Now build. That's absurd, objected Milo, whose head was spinning from all the numbers and questions. That may be true, he acknowledged, but it's completely accurate. And as long as the answer is right, who cares if the question is wrong? If you want sense, you'll have to make it yourself. All 3 roads arrive at the same place at the same time, interrupted Talk, who had patiently been doing the first problem. Correct, shouted the dodecadron, and I'll take you there myself. Now, you can see how important problems are. If you hadn't done this one properly, you might have gone the wrong way. I can't see where I made my mistake, said the humbug, frantically rechecking his figures. But if all the roads arrive at the same place at the same time, then aren't they all the right way? Asked Milo. Certainly not, he shouted, glaring from his most upset face. They're all the wrong way. Just because you have a choice, it doesn't mean that any of them has to be right. He walked to the sign and quickly spun it around 3 times. As he did, the 3 roads vanished and a new one suddenly appeared, heading in the direction that the sign now pointed. Is every road 5 miles from Digitopolis? Asked Milo. I'm afraid it has to be, the dodecadron replied, leaping back into the back of the car. It's the only sign we've got. The new road was quite bumpy and full of stones, and each time they hit one, the dodecadron bounced into the air and landed on one of his faces with a sulk or a smile or a laugh or a frown, depending on which one it was. MJ said, I'd be so confused reading this book. This is meant for kids, right? Not an astrophysicist. I know, it's actually like very like crazy deep. There's like a lot of like metaphor and stuff in here. But because it's for kids, you can actually like learn a lot from reading it. So like each time you read it, you kind of pick up on more things as you read it throughout the years. It's like you read it when you're in 5th grade and you only pick up like the baselines of the story and like, oh, it's silly. And then as you read more, you're like, oh, actually that's kind of deep. Like every year you read it, then you reread it as an adult and it's like, ooh, interesting. We are reading The Phantom Tollbooth. I love Talk, the little watchdog. All right, let's see. Depending on which one it was. We'll soon be there, he announced happily after one of his short flights. Welcome to the land of numbers. It doesn't look very inviting, the bug remarked, for as they climbed higher and higher, not a tree or a blade of grass could be seen anywhere, only the rocks remained. Is this the place where numbers are made? Asked Milo as the car lurched again. And this time the dodecadron sailed off down the mountainside, head over heels and grunt over grimace, until he landed sad side up at what looked like the entrance to a cave. They're not made, he replied, as if nothing had happened. You have to dig for them. Don't you know anything at all about numbers? Well, I don't think they're very important, snapped Milo, too embarrassed to admit the truth. Not important, roared the dodecadron, turning red with fury. Could you have tea for two without two? Or 3 blind mice without the 3? Would there be 4 corners of the earth if there weren't a 4? And how would you sail the 7 seas without a 7? All I meant was, began Milo, but the dodecadron, overcome with emotions and shouting furiously, carried right on. If you had high hopes, how would you know how high they were? And did you know that narrow escapes come in all different widths? Would you travel the whole wide world without ever knowing how wide it was? And how could you do anything at long last, he concluded, waving his arms over his head, without knowing how long the last was? Why, numbers are the most beautiful and valuable things in the world. Just follow me and I'll show you. He turned on his heel and stalked off into the cave. Come along, he shouted from the dark hole. I can't wait all day for you. And in a moment they followed him into the mountain. Shot for me for a new head. Book has a lot of word plow. Oh, wordplay, yes. It's like the entire book is wordplay. You should have seen the beginning. The entire book is all wordplay, which I love because I'm an English, should have been an English major. I didn't really go to college for that, but all through school, I'm big on English, reading, that kind of thing. I'm an English major in my mind. Anyway, where was I? Let's see. Okay. He turned on his heel and stalked off into the cave. Come along, he shouted from a dark hole. I can't wait for you all day. And in the moment, they followed him into the mountain. It took several minutes for their eyes to become accustomed to the dim light, and during that time, strange scratching, scraping, tapping, scuffling noises could be heard all around them. Put these on, instructed the dodecadron, handing each of them a helmet with a flashlight attached to the top. Where are we going? Whispered Milo, for it seemed like the kind of place in which you whispered. We're here, he replied with a sweeping gesture. I was just tripping over my own tongue. We're here, he replied with a sweeping gesture. This is the numbers mine. Milo squinted into the darkness and saw for the first time that they had entered a vast cavern, lit only by a soft, eerie glow from the great stalactites which hung ominously from the ceiling. Passages and corridors honeycombed from the walls and wound their way from the floor to the ceiling, up and down the sides of the cave. And everywhere he looked, Milo saw little men, no bigger than himself, busy digging and chopping, shoveling and scraping, pulling and tugging, carts full of stone from one place to another. There's the little miner men. Those are the little men mining the numbers. Number miners. Zentagel said the book has a lot of words. Well, books are supposed to have words, but it's the way the words play with each other that is wonderful. Tingles my brain in all the right ways. Right this way, instructed the dodecadron, and watch where you step. As he spoke, his voice echoed and re-echoed again, mixing its sound with the buzz of activity all around them. Talk trotted along right next to Milo, and the humbug stepping daintily, followed behind. Whose mine is it? Asked Milo, stepping around 2 of the loaded wagons. By the 4,827,659 hairs on my head, it's mine, of course, bellowed a voice from across the cavern, and striding toward them came a figure who could only have been The Math Magician. Is on his belly? Yeah, I think so. He got a big old belly. He got a big belly sticking out. Yeah, it's a weird pic. Weird looking dude. And he's got like he's got the little helmet. That's the little helmet on his head with the flashlight. He looks like me. Right? Me too after I eat my dinner. Get me a food baby. Food baby belly. Hold on. Oh, look, Stratty likes to sit with me when I read stories. Stratus. Stratty catty. Let me sit with Stratty. We love you, Stratty. We go sit with Stratty. Yeah, he always comes and sits with me when I'm reading. There's a cat I'd kiss. Yes, kiss the kitty. Kiss the kitty. He does. He always, whenever I'm reading this book, he comes over and sits next to me. Stratty likes story time. You like story time, Stratty? He's cleaning his butt. We'll focus off of him for a second so he can clean his butt in private. Then we'll turn back in a second when he's done cleaning his bum. Does the cat want to read it, Stratty? You want to read the story? You want to read the story, Stratty? Here. Stratty says, meow. Meow, meow, meow. There you go. Clean your legs. That's better. Cute little feet. Cute little feet. Yes, clean your feet. He's cleaning his feet. Very cute. I love him. Very cute. Kitty cat, kitty cat. Trying to get him kind of in the screen, but still have my light. I have to turn my light over here. It's too dark. I'll move the light this way. There we go. That's a little better. He gives her a dirty look for interrupting, right? Yes, there you go. He's just trying to take a bath. Trying to take a bath. He says, Mommy, it's bath time. You read your story. Don't stop reading. He likes when I read. All right, where are we? Okay. Striding towards them came a figure who could only have been the Math Magician. He was dressed in a long, flowing robe covered entirely with complex mathematical equations and a tall, pointed cap that made him look very wise. In his left hand, he carried a long staff with a pencil point at one end and a large rubber eraser at the other. It's a lovely mind, apologized the humbug, who was always intimidated by loud noises. The biggest number mine in the kingdom, said the Math Magician proudly. Let me just rip my nose again. Are there any precious stones in it? Asked Milo excitedly. Precious stones, he roared, even louder than before. And then he leaned over towards Milo, and whispered softly, by the 8,247,312 threads in my robe, I'll say there are. Look here. He reached into one of the carts and pulled out a small object, which he polished vigorously on his robe. When he held it up to the light, it sparkled brightly. But that's a 5, objected Milo, for that was certainly what it was. Exactly, agreed the Math Magician. As valuable a jewel as you'll find anywhere. Look at some of the others. He scooped up a great handful of stones and poured them into Milo's arms. They included all the numbers from 1 to 9, and even an assortment of zeros. We dig them and polish them right here, volunteered the dodecadron, pointing to a group of workers busily employed at the buffing wheels. And then we send them all over the world. Marvelous, aren't they? So there's the math magician with his big pencil. Just got a giant pencil. And there's Milo and Talk. Run, Milo, he's gonna make you do math. Right, man, this world is my nightmare. Yeah, I prefer Dictionopolis. Digitopolis is scary. Courtney says that's Stratus. Yes, this one's Stratus. Lucky is the little black and white kitten. He's somewhere. He might be in the closet. Or he's on the bench. He's not on the bench. Let me see if he's in the closet. Either that or he's on Mom's side. I'll look here. Is he in the closet or is he on Granny's side? Lucky, are you over here? Oh, Lucky. There is a Lucky over here. Where's a Lucky? I found a Lucky. I found a Lucky. This is a Lucky. This is a Lucky. This is a Lucky. Don't let Lucky eat the hen. This is a Lucky. This is a Lucky. He's sleepy. He was sleeping in the closet. Oh, the baby Lucky. This is Lucky. The little baby. With his little cute little pink nose. Oh, the baby. Kiss the kitten. I always kiss the kittens. Kiss the kitty. Kiss the kitty. His face looks like Piper's. Yes, are you the cat version of her dog? Zendangle says Lucky's mine. Black and white blaze. Yeah, he's got the white stripe on their head. Yes, very cute. Very cute. Did you know that Courtney has a doggy now that looks like you? Yeah. Our buddy Duke. Duke has like the same thing. He's got the little, I say Duke is like the dog version of him because he's got the white paws too. It's like black and white in like all the same spots. All right, you want to go back in your closet? He likes to go sleep in the closet. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, or you can stay here. You can do whatever you want, kitty. Go ahead. I don't know what he's deciding to do. He's thinking about it. Don't bother your brother, though. Your brother's trying to take a bath. Don't bother your brother. Don't bother your brother, Stratus. Piper's getting nails trimmed tomorrow. He has to take meds to calm her. Oh, I did loonies the other day. She's okay with it. She just needs someone to distract her, so my mom helped me. My mom fed her roast beef while I clipped her nails. But your pup just came out of a shelter. She's not even used to you yet, so... Looney's been with me since she was a baby. She knows I won't hurt her. Lucky, be nice to your brother. All right. Let's go back to the book now that the kitties are all showing us their cuteness. So cute. Yeah, she's still taking time. Yeah, she got to get used to you. She don't have full trust yet. All right, where are we? Okay, we dig them and polish them right here, volunteered the dodecadron, pointing to a group of workers busily employed at the buffing wheels, and then we send them all over the world. Marvelous, aren't they? They are exceptional, said Talk, who had a special fondness for numbers. Talk's fond of numbers because he likes to tell the time, and he needs the numbers to tell the time because he has numbers on his clock. Oh, that's okay, Country Living. We were looking at the cats too, so we didn't read too much more. We were playing with the kitties. Yes, we're going back to reading now. Okay, who had a special... They're exceptional, said Talk, who had a special fondness for numbers. So that's where they come from, said Milo, looking in awe at the glittering collection of numbers. He returned them to the dodecahedron as carefully as possible, but as he did, one dropped to the floor with a smash and broke in two. The humbug winced, and Milo looked terribly concerned. Oh, don't worry about that, said the math magician as he scooped up the pieces. We use the broken ones for fractions. Haven't you any diamonds or emeralds or rubies? Asked the bug irritably, for he was quite disappointed in what he'd seen so far. Yes, indeed, said the math magician replied, leading them to the rear of the cave. Right this way. There, piled into the enormous mounds that reached almost to the ceiling, were not only diamonds and emeralds and rubies, but also sapphires, amethysts, topaz, moonstones, and garnets. It was the most amazing mass of wealth that any of them had ever seen. They're such a terrible nuisance, sighed the math magician, and no one can think of what to do with them, so we just keep digging them up and throwing them out. Now, he said, taking a silver whistle from his pocket and blowing it loudly, let's have some lunch. And for the first time in his life, the astonished bug couldn't think of a thing to say. Yeah, my goats are the same way. Like, if I let them out, they wouldn't leave the property. They just stay in the yard. They don't want to leave. I let my goats out to free range sometimes, and I don't like keep my eye on them the whole time. They just don't go anywhere. They just wander around the yard. Okay, chapter 15. This way to infinity. Into the cavern rushed 8 of the strongest miners, carrying an immense cauldron which bubbled and sizzled and sent great clouds of savory steam spiraling slowly to the ceiling. A sweet yet pungent aroma hung in the air and drifted easily from one anxious nose to the other, stopping only long enough to make several mouths water and for a few stomachs to growl. Lucky, what are you doing up there? Milo, Talk, and the humbug watched eagerly as the rest of the workers put down their tools and gathered around the big pot to help themselves. Perhaps you'd care for something to eat, said the math magician, offering each of them a heaping bowlful. Yes, sir, said Milo, who was beside himself with hunger. Thank you, added Talk. The humbug made no reply, for he was already too busy eating, and in a moment the 3 of them had finished absolutely everything they'd been given. Cuties. Please, have another portion, said the math magician, filling their bowls once more, and as quickly as they'd finished the first one, the second one was emptied too. Don't stop now, he insisted, serving them again, and again, and again, and again, and again. How very strange, thought Milo as he finished his 7th helping. Each one I eat makes me a little hungrier than the one before. Do have some more, suggested the mathematician as they continued to eat just as fast as he filled the plates. After Milo had eaten 9 portions, Talk 11, and the humbug, without even stopping once to look up, 23, the math magician blew his whistle for a second time, and immediately the pot was removed and the miners returned to work. Oh, gasped the bug, suddenly realizing that he was 23 times hungrier than when he started. I think I'm starving. Me too, complained Milo, whose stomach felt as empty as he could ever remember. And I ate so much. Oh, thanks, Courtney. Yeah, I love the goats. And I ate so much. Yes, it was delicious, wasn't it? Agreed the pleased dodecahedron, wiping the gravy from several of his mouths. It's the specialty of the kingdom. Subtraction stew. I have more of an appetite than when I began, said Talk, leaning weakly against one of the larger rocks. Certainly, replied the math magician, What did you expect? The more you eat, the hungrier you get. Everyone knows that. They do, said Milo doubtfully. Then how do you ever get enough? Enough, he said impatiently. Here in Digitopolis, we have our meals when we're full, and we eat until we're hungry. That way, when you don't have anything at all, you have more than enough. It's a very economical system. You must have been quite stuffed to have eaten so much. It's completely illogical, explained the dodecahedron. The more you want, the less you get, and the less you get, the more you have. Simple arithmetic, that's all. Suppose you had something and added something to it. What would that make? More, said Milo quickly. Quite correct, he nodded. Now suppose you had something and added nothing to it. What would you have? The same, he answered again, without much conviction. Splendid, cried the dodecahedron. And suppose you had something and added less than nothing to it. What would you have then? Famine, roared the anxious humbug, who suddenly realized that that was exactly what he'd eaten 23 bowls of. It's not as bad as all that, said the dodecahedron from his most sympathetic face. In a few hours you'll be nice and full again, just in time for dinner. Oh dear, said Milo sadly and softly. I only eat when I'm hungry. What a curious idea, said the math magician, raising his staff over his head and scrubbing the rubber end back and forth several times on the ceiling. The next thing you'll have us believe is that you only sleep when you're tired. And by the time he'd finished that sentence, the cavern, the miners, and the dodecahedron had vanished, leaving just the four of them standing in the math magician's workshop. I often find, he said casually, explained to his dazed visitors, that the best way to get from one place to another is to erase everything and begin again. Please make yourself at home. Do you always travel that way? Asked Milo, as he glanced curiously at the strange circular room, whose 16 tiny arched windows corresponded exactly to the 16 points of a compass. Around the entire circumference were numbers from 0 to 360, marking from 0 to 360, marking the degrees of a circle, and on the floor, walls, tables, chairs, desks, cabinets, and ceiling were labels showing their heights, widths, depths, and distances to and from each other. To one side was a gigantic notepad set on an artist easel, and from the hooks and strings hung a collection of scales, rulers, measures, weights, tapes, and all sorts of other devices for measuring any number of things in every possible way. Courtney said, duh, sleep when you're tired. Make it make sense. Measure, weight, tapes, and all sorts of other devices for measuring any number of things in every possible way. No, indeed, replied the math magician, and this time he raised the sharpened end of his staff, drew a thin, straight line in the air, and then walked gracefully across it from one side of the room to the other. Most of the time I take the shortest distance between any 2 points. And of course, when I should be in several places at once, he remarked, writing 7 times 1 equals 7 carefully on the notepad, I simply multiply. Suddenly there were 7 math magicians standing side by side, and each one looked exactly like the other. How did you do that? Gasped Milo. There's nothing to it, they all said in chorus, if you have a magic staff. Then 6 of them canceled themselves out and simply disappeared. But it's only a big pencil, the humbug objected, tapping at it with his cane. True enough, agreed the math magician, but once you learn to use it, there's no end to what you can do. Can you make things disappear? Asked Milo excitedly. Why, certainly, he said, striding over to the easel. Just step a little closer and watch carefully. After demonstrating that there was nothing up his sleeves, in his hat, or behind his back, he wrote quickly, 4 plus 9 minus 2 times 16 plus 1 divided by 3 times 6 minus 67 plus 8 times 2 minus 3 plus 26 minus 1 divided by 34 plus 3 divided by 7 plus 2 minus 5 equals... Then he looked up expectantly. 17, shouted the bug, who always managed to be first with the wrong answer. It all precisely comes to 0, corrected Milo. Oh, sorry. It all comes to 0, corrected Milo. Precisely. I read 2 of the things. I was like, I said it all precisely comes to 0. Put two sentences together. It all comes to 0, corrected Milo. Precisely, said the math magician, making a very theatrical bow, and the entire line of numbers vanished before their eyes. Now, is there anything else you'd like to see? Yes, please, said Milo. Can you show me the biggest number there is? I'd be delighted, he replied, opening one of the closet doors. We keep it right here. It took 4 miners just to dig it out. Inside was the biggest 3 Milo had ever seen. It was fully twice as high as the math magician. Look at this. He wanted to see the biggest number, but all he got was this. That's the biggest number he's ever seen. It's giant 3. No, that's not what I mean, objected Milo. Can you show me the longest number there is? Surely, said the math magician, opening another door. Here it is. It took 3 carts to carry it here. Inside the closet was the longest 8 imaginable. It was just about as wide as the other 3 was high. He's got a giant 8. He's like, I just want to know what the biggest number is. No, that's not what I mean either, said Milo, looking helplessly at Talk. I think what you would like to see, said the dog, scratching himself just under 4:30, is the number of greatest possible magnitude. Well, why didn't you say so, said the math magician, who was busy measuring the edge of a raindrop. What's the greatest number you can think of? 9,999,999,999,999, recited Milo breathlessly. Very good, said the math magician. Now add 1 to it. Now add 1 again, he repeated when Milo had added the previous one. Now add 1 again. 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 Now add... But when can I stop? Pleaded Milo. Never, said the math magician with a little smile. For the number you want is always at least 1 more than the number you've got. And it's so large that if you started saying it yesterday, you wouldn't finish tomorrow. Where could you ever find a number so big? Scoffed the humbug. In the same place they have the smallest number there is, he answered helpfully. And you know what that is? Certainly, said the bug, suddenly remembering something to do at the other end of the room. 1/1,000,000th? Asked Milo, trying to think of the smallest fraction possible. Almost, said the math magician. Now divide it in half. Now divide it in half again. 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 Now divide it in half. Oh dear, shouted Milo, holding his hands to his ear. Doesn't that ever stop either? How can it, said the math magician, when you can always take half of whatever you have left until it's so small that if you started to say it right now, you'd finish even before you began. Where could you keep anything so tiny? Milo asked, trying very hard to imagine such a thing. The math magician stopped what he was doing and explained simply, why, in a box that's so small you can't see it, and that's kept in a drawer so small you can't see it, in a dresser so small you can't see it, in a house that's so small you can't see it, on a street that's so small you can't see it, in a city that's so small you can't see it, which is part of a country that's so small you can't see it, in a world that's so small you can't see it. Then he sat down, fanned himself with a handkerchief, and continued, Then, of course, we keep the whole thing in another box that's so small you can't see it. And if you follow me, I'll show you where to find it. They walked to one of the small windows, and there, tied to the sill, was one end of a line that stretched along the ground and into the distance until completely out of sight. Just follow that line forever, said the math magician. And when you reach the end, turn left. There you'll find the land of infinity, where the tallest, the shortest, the biggest, the smallest, and the most and the least of everything are kept. I really don't have that much time, said Milo anxiously. Isn't there a quicker way? Well, you might try this flight of stairs, he suggested, opening another door and pointing up. It goes there too. Milo bounded across the room and started up the stairs, two at a time. Wait for me, please, he shouted to Talk in the humbug. I'll be gone just a few minutes. I don't think it takes a few minutes to reach infinity, but good luck. Chapter 16. A Very Dirty Bird. Dirty bird. My birds are clean. Up he went, very quickly at first, then more slowly. Then, in a little while, even more slowly than that. And finally, after many minutes of climbing up the endless stairway, one wary foot was barely able to follow the other. Milo suddenly realized that with all his effort, he was no closer to the top than when he began, and not a great deal further from the bottom either. But he struggled on for a little while longer, until at last, completely exhausted, he collapsed onto one of the steps. I should have known it, he mumbled, resting his tired legs and filling his lungs with air. This is just like the line that goes on forever, and I'll never get there. You wouldn't like it very much anyway, someone replied gently. Infinity is a dreadfully poor place. They can never manage to make ends meet. Milo looks up. With his head still resting heavily on his hand, he was becoming quite accustomed to being addressed at the oddest times, in the oddest places, by the oddest people, and this time he was not at all disappointed. Standing next to him on the step was exactly one half of a small child who had been divided neatly from top to bottom. So there's Milo climbing the staircase that goes to nowhere. It's the infinity staircase. Winchester is watching TV. Your horse is watching TV. And then there's the little half a boy. It's a fraction of a boy on the steps that kind of popped out of nowhere to talk to him. So he collapsed on the steps and now he's resting. He had some drinks, staggering. Oh, the dog's name is Winchester. I thought Winchester was one of the horses. I was like, you brought the horse in to watch TV? My dog likes to watch TV with me too sometimes. Apparently my cats like story time. Okay, standing next to him on the top step was exactly one half of a small child who had been divided neatly from top to bottom. Pardon me for staring, said Milo after he had been staring for some time, but I've never seen half a child before. It's 0.58 to be precise, replied the child from the left side of his mouth, which happened to be the only side of his mouth. I beg your pardon? Asked Milo. It's 0.58, he repeated. It's a little bit more than half. Have you always been that way? Asked Milo, impatiently, for he felt that was a needlessly fine distinction. My goodness, no, the child assured him. A few years ago I was just 0.42, and believe me, that was terribly inconvenient. What is the rest of your family like? Asked Milo, this time a bit more sympathetically. Oh, we're just the average family, he said thoughtfully. Mother, father, and 2.58 children. And as I explained, I'm the 0.58. It must be rather odd being only part of a person, Milo remarked. Not at all, said the child. Every average family has 2.58 children, so I always have someone to play with. Besides, each family also has an average of 1.3 automobiles, and since I'm the only one who can drive 3/10 of a car, I get to use it all the time. But averages aren't real, objected Milo. They're just imaginary. That may be so, he agreed, but they're also very useful at times. For instance, if you didn't have any money at all, but you happened to be with 4 other people who had $10 apiece, then you'd each have an average of $8. Isn't that right? I guess so, said Milo weakly. Well, think of how much better off you'd be just because of averages, he explained convincingly. And think of the poor farmer when it doesn't rain all year. If there wasn't an average yearly rainfall of 37 inches in this part of the country, all his crops would wither and die. It all sounded terribly confusing to Milo, for he had always had trouble in school with just this subject. There are still other advantages, continued the child. For instance, if one rat were cornered by 9 cats, then on the average, each cat would be 10% rat. Each cat would be 10% rat, and the rat would be 90% cat. If you happen to be a rat, you can see how much nicer it would make things. What? If one rat were cornered by 9 cats, then on the average, each cat would be 10% rat, and the rat would be 90% cat. I don't get it. If you happen to be a rat, you could see how much nicer it would make things. But that can never be, said Milo, jumping to his feet. Don't be too sure, said the child patiently. For one of the nicest things about mathematics, or anything else you might care to learn, is that many of the things which can never be often are. You see, he went on, it's very much like you're trying to reach infinity. You know that it's there, but you just don't know where. But just because you can never reach it doesn't mean that it's not worth looking for. I hadn't thought of it that way, said Milo, starting down the stairs. I think I'll go back now. A wise decision, the child agreed. But try again someday. Perhaps you'll get much closer. And as Milo waved goodbye, he smiled warmly, which he usually did on the average of 47 times a day. Everyone here knows so much more than I do, thought Milo as he leapt from step to step. I'll have to do a lot better if I'm going to rescue the princesses. In a few minutes, he'd reached the bottom again and burst into the workshop where Talk and the Humbug were eagerly watching the math magician perform. Ah, back already, he cried, greeting him with a friendly wave. I hope you found what you were looking for. I'm afraid not, admitted Milo. And then he added in a very discouraged tone, everything in Digitopolis is much too difficult for me. The math magician nodded knowingly and stroked his chin several times. You'll find, he remarked gently, that the only thing you can do easily is be wrong, and that's hardly worth the effort. I need a tissue again because I'm getting too stuffy to breathe. Here, hold on. Getting too stuffy to breathe. Hello. I gotta clear out my nose again. Sorry guys, I've been getting sick, so it just makes it a little hard to read when I'm getting sick. I sound like you, yeah, I'm getting sick. I don't like it. Oh, like my sinuses are always a little bit messed up, but like I can't even talk. I'm so stuffed. Oh, okay, let's go. Okay, you'll find, he remarked, that the only thing you can do easily is be wrong, and that's hardly worth the effort. Milo tried very hard to understand all the things he'd been told, and all the things he'd seen, and as he spoke, one curious thing still bothered him. Why is it, he said quietly, that quite often even the things which are correct just don't seem to be right? A look of deep melancholy crossed the math magician's face, and his eyes grew moist with sadness. Everything was silent, and it was several minutes before he was able to reply at all. How very true, he sobbed, supporting himself on the staff. It has been that way since rhyme and reason were banished. Quite so, began the humbug. I personally feel that, and all because of that stubborn wretch Azaz, roared the math magician, completely overwhelming the bug, for now his sadness had changed to fury, and he stalked about the room, adding up anger and multiplying wrath. It's all his fault. Perhaps if you'd discussed it with him, Milo started to say, but he never had time to finish.
He's much too unreasonable, interrupted the math magician again. Why, just last month I sent him a very friendly letter, which he never had the courtesy to answer. See for yourself. He handed Milo a copy of the letter, which read, That's the letter. He handed Milo a copy of the letter, which read, 4,738, 1,919, 667. The 394,017, 5,841. You get the point. Just a whole bunch of numbers. That's his letter. It's like, I wonder why he didn't answer. Butterfly, oh my, Morse code. Yeah, I wonder why he didn't answer that letter. Just last month, I sent him a very friendly letter, which he never had the courtesy to even answer. See for yourself. Here it is, this is the letter. But maybe he doesn't understand numbers, said Milo, who found it a little difficult to read himself. Nonsense, bellowed the math magician. Everyone understands numbers. No matter what language you speak, they always mean the same thing. A 7 is a 7 anywhere in the world. My goodness, thought Milo, everybody is so terribly sensitive about the things they know best. With your permission, said Talk, changing the subject, we'd like to rescue Rhyme and Reason. Has Azaz agreed to it? The math magician inquired. Yes, sir, the dog assured him. Then I don't, he thundered again. For since they've been banished, we've never agreed on anything. And we never will. He emphasized his last remark with a dark and ominous look. Never? Asked Milo, with the slightest touch of disbelief in his voice. Never, he repeated. And if you can prove otherwise, you have my permission to go. Well, said Milo, who had thought about this problem very carefully ever since leaving Dictionopolis, then with whatever Azaz agrees, you disagree? Correct, said the math magician with a tolerant smile. And with whatever Azaz disagrees, you agree? Also correct, yawned the math magician nonchalantly, cleaning his fingernails with the point of his staff. Then each of you agrees that he will disagree with whatever each of you agrees with, said Milo triumphantly. And if you both disagree with the same thing, then aren't you really in agreement? I've been tricked, cried the math magician helplessly, for no matter how he figured, it still came out just that way. Splendid effort, commented the humbug jovially, exactly the way I would have done it myself. And now may we go, added Talk. Yeah, they agree to disagree. They agree that they're both going to disagree with each other on everything. And now may we go, added Talk. The math magician accepted his defeat with grace. He nodded weakly and then drew the three travelers to his side. It's a long and dangerous journey, he began softly, and a furrow of concern creased his forehead. Long before you find them, the demons will know you're there. Watch for them well, he emphasized, for when they appear, it might be too late. The humbug shuddered down to his toes, and Milo felt the tips of his fingers suddenly grow cold. But there is one problem even more serious than that, he whispered ominously. What is it? Gasped Milo, who was not sure he really wanted to know. I'm afraid I can tell you only when you return. Come along, said the math magician, and I'll show you the way. And simply by carrying the three, he transported them all the way to the edge of Digitopolis. Behind them lay all the kingdoms of wisdom, and up ahead a narrow, rutted path led towards the mountains in darkness. We'll never get the car up that, said Milo unhappily. True enough, replied the math magician, but you can be in ignorance quick enough without riding all the way. And if you're to be successful, it will have to be a step by step. But I would like to take my gifts, Milo insisted. So you shall, announced the dodecadron, who appeared from nowhere with his arms full. Here are your sights, here are your sounds, and here, he said, handing Milo the last of them disdainfully, are your words. And most important of all, added the math magician, here is your own magic staff. Use it well, and there is nothing it cannot do for you. He placed in Milo's breast pocket a small, gleaming pencil, which, except for the size, was much like his own. Then, with a last word of encouragement, he and the dodecadron, who was simultaneously sobbing, frowning, pining, and sighing from 4 of his saddest faces, made their farewell and watched as the 3 tiny figures disappeared into the forbidding mountains of ignorance. Can I get pictures? Okay. Just making sure there was no pictures I missed. Alright, that's them heading off into the mountains. Is the math magician kind of sending them on their way with Milo and Talk and the humbug? And they're going off into the mountains of ignorance, and that's where the that's where the princesses were banished up into the mountains. So nut milk or soy milk? What? My drink was coconut milk, so I guess it's kind of nut milk. My smoothie is coconut milk. But I didn't know what you were asking. Okay, where am I? Okay, so they disappeared into the forbidding mountains of ignorance. Almost immediately, the light began to fade as the difficult path wandered aimlessly upward, inching forward almost as reluctantly as the trembling humbug. Talk, as usual, led the way, sniffing ahead for danger, and Milo, his bag of precious possessions slung over one shoulder, followed silently and resolutely behind. Perhaps someone should stay back to guard the way, said the unhappy bug, offering his services. He's just trying to get out of going. But since his suggestion was met with silence, he followed glumly along. The higher they went, the darker it became, though it wasn't the darkness of night, but rather more like a mixture of lurking shadows and evil intentions which oozed from the slimy, moss-covered cliffs and blotted out the light. A cruel wind shrieked through the rocks, and the air was thick and heavy, as if it had been used several times before. On they went, higher and higher up the dizzying trail, on one side the sheer stone walls and brutal peaks towering above them, and on the other an endless, limitless, bottomless nothing. I can hardly see a thing, said Milo, taking hold of Talk's tail, as a sticky mist engulfed the moon. Perhaps we should wait until morning. There'll be morning for you soon enough, came a reply from directly above, and this was followed by a hideous cackling, very much like someone choking on a fishbone. Clinging to one of the greasy rocks and blending almost perfectly with it was a large, unkempt, and exceedingly soiled bird who looked more like a dirty floor mop than anything else. He had a sharp, dangerous beak, and the one eye he chose to open stared down maliciously. I don't think you understand, said Milo timidly as the watchdog growled a warning. We're looking for a place to spend the night. There's the creepy, dirty bird. Yeah, I thought he was being dirty. He's a dirty bird. I know, doesn't it sound like he's a dirty bird? That's why I said nut milk. I mean, it's coconut milk. The milk in my smoothie's coconut milk. Nut milk. All right, so there's the creepy mop bird. He looks like a mop. With his little beak, and he's got one eye open. Okay, so he said, we're looking for a place to spend the night. It's not yours to spend, the bird shrieked again, and followed it with the same horrible laugh. That doesn't make any sense. You see, he started to explain. Dollars or cents, it's still not yours to spend, the bird replied haughtily. But I didn't mean, insisted Milo. Of course you're mean, interrupted the bird, closing the eye that had been open and opening the one that had been closed. Anyone who'd spend a night that doesn't belong to him is very mean. Well, I thought that he tried again desperately. That's a different story, interjected the bird a bit more amiably. If you want to buy, I'm sure I can arrange to sell. But with what you're doing, you'll probably end up in a cell anyway. That bird doesn't seem right, said Milo helplessly, for with the bird taking everything the wrong way, he hardly knew what he was saying. Agreed, said the bird, with a sharp click of his beak, but neither is it left, although if I were you, I would have left a long time ago. The bird looks like you. Let me try once more, Milo said in an effort to explain. In other words, you mean you have other words, cried the bird happily. Well, by all means, use them. You're certainly not doing very well with the ones you have now. Must you always interrupt like that, said Talk irritably, for even he was becoming impatient. Naturally, the bird cackled. It's my job. I take the words right out of your mouth. Haven't we met before? I'm the ever-present word snatcher, and I am sure I know your friend the bug. And then he leaned all the way forward and gave a terrible knowing smile. The crazy bird. There's a Talk and Milo and the humbug all looking up at this crazy, creepy bird looking down at them. Creepy bird. The ever-present word snatcher. Little turtle. The humbug, who was too big to hide and too frightened to move, denied everything. Is everyone who lives in ignorance like you? Asked Milo. Much worse, he said longingly, but I don't live here. I'm from a place very far away called Context. Don't you think you should be getting back? Suggested the bug, holding one arm up in front of him. What a horrible thought, the bird shuddered. It's such an unpleasant place that I spend almost all my time out of it. Besides, what could be nicer than these grimy mountains? Almost anything, thought Milo as he pulled his collar up, and then he asked the bird, Are you a demon? I'm afraid not, he replied sadly, as several filthy tears rolled down his beak. I've tried, but the best I can manage is to be a nuisance. And before Milo could reply, he flapped his dingy wings and flew off in a cascade of dust and dirt and fuzz. Wait, shouted Milo, who'd thought of many more questions he wanted to ask. 34 pounds, shrieked the bird as he disappeared into the fog. Well, he was certainly no help, said Milo, after they had been walking again for some time. MJ said, so I looked at the cast for Scream 7, and Dewey and Roman are in it, so hear me out. What if Dewey, Stu, and Roman all planned it together? Ah! Dewey joined when he was working for the studio with fake Gale. Maybe? There's something going on. Either that or it's just all flashbacks, but I don't know. Dewey's protected them so many times that it would seem weird for him to, like, why would he protect them if he was gonna then just turn around and kill everybody? But I don't know. He also just had like a really traumatic thing happen, so maybe he switched sides. Alright, let's get back to the book. I'm the Maud country. Alright, he was certainly no help, said Milo, after they had been walking again for some time. That's why I drove him off, cried the humbug, fiercely brandishing his cane. Now let's find the demons. That might be sooner than you think, remarked Talk, looking back at the suddenly trembling bug, and the trail turned again and continued to climb. In a few minutes they had reached the crest, only to find that beyond it lay another one, even higher, and beyond that several more, whose tops were lost in the swirling darkness. For a short stretch the path became broad and flat, and just ahead, leaning comfortably against a dead tree, stood a very elegant-looking gentleman. My online wife, so time yourself out. Dewey could hate Sidney for how his sister died. Stu hated Sidney, yeah, for trying to kill him and for killing his friend. Roman hated her for the mom. Yeah, like I said, he could have turned because of all the shit he went through. Internet husband. He's gone through some, like, crazy trauma at this point, so... if he's still alive. Right, the daughter's a big part of this movie, too, apparently, so... it's gonna all tie in together. I know all the old stuff is gonna come back into play at some level. Sydney. Surprise, Sydney. Okay, let's see. Hold on. All right, for a short stretch, the path became broad and flat, and just ahead, leaning comfortably against a dead tree, stood a very elegant-looking gentleman without a face. There's a very elegant-looking gentleman. He's got a little suit and a little hanky in his pocket. Yeah, we'll have to talk more Scream later. Yeah, doesn't he look creepy? He reminds me of, like, Slender Man. Reminds me of Slender Man. With, like, the no face. Yeah, we'll have to talk Scream again more. But not while I'm reading, because we're getting pretty close to the end. He was beautifully dressed in a dark suit with a well-pressed shirt and tie. His shoes were polished, his nails were clean, his hat was well brushed, and a white handkerchief adorned his breast pocket. But his expression was somewhat blank. In fact, it was completely blank, for he had neither eyes, nose, or mouth. "Hello, little boy," he said amiably, shaking Milo by the hand. "And how's the faithful dog?" he inquired, giving Talk 3 or 4 strong and friendly pats. "And who is this handsome creature?" he asked, tipping his hat to the very pleased humbug. "I'm so happy to see you all." What a pleasant surprise to meet someone so nice, they all thought, and especially here. "I wonder if you could spare me a little bit of your time," he inquired politely, "and help me with a few small jobs?" "Why, of course," said the humbug cheerfully. "Gladly," added Talk. "Yes, indeed," said Milo, who wondered for just a moment how it was possible for someone so agreeable to have a face with no features at all. "Splendid," he said happily, "for there are just 3 tasks. Firstly, I would like you to move this pile from here to there," he explained, pointing to an enormous mound of fine sand. "But I'm afraid that all I have are these tiny tweezers," and he gave them to Milo, who immediately began transporting 1 grain at a time. "Secondly, I would like to empty this well and fill the other, but I have no bucket, so you'll have to use this eyedropper," and he handed it to Talk, who undertook at once to carry 1 drop at a time from well to well. This world got Man with Many Faces, Too Much Math, and Slender Man. Yeah, Milo, run! Slender Man. Yeah, too much math is the part that scares me, for real. And he handed it to Talk, who undertook at once to carry 1 drop at a time from well to well. "And lastly, I must have a hole through this cliff, and here is a needle to dig it." The eager humbug quickly set to work picking at the solid granite wall. When they had all been safely started, the very pleasant man returned to the tree, and leaning against it once more, continued to stare vacantly down the trail, while Milo, Talk, and the humbug worked hour after hour after hour, after hour after hour after hour, after hour after hour after hour, after hour after hour after hour. So that's we got Milo picking up sand with tweezers. We got Talk refilling 1 well to another well with a freaking eyedropper. And the humbug is trying to dig a hole through a wall with a needle. So he's put them all to work. Chapter 17, The Unwelcoming Committee. The humbug whistled gaily at his work, for he was never as happy as when he had a job which required no thinking at all. After what seemed like days, he had dug a hole scarcely large enough for his thumb. Talk shuffled steadily back and forth with the dropper in his teeth, but the full well was still almost full as when he began, and Milo's new pile of sand was hardly a pile at all. How very strange, said Milo without stopping for a moment. I've been working steadily all this time, and I don't feel the slightest bit hungry or tired. I could go right on the same way forever. Perhaps you will, the man agreed with a yawn. At least it sounded like a yawn. Well, I wish I knew how long it was going to take, Milo whispered as the dog went by again. Why not use your magic staff and find out? Replied Talk as clearly as anyone could with an eyedropper in his mouth. Milo took the shiny pencil from his pocket and quickly calculated that at the rate they were working, it would take each of them 837 years to finish. Pardon me, he said, tugging at the man's sleeve and holding a sheet of figures up for him to see, but it's going to take 837 years to do these jobs. Is that so? Replied the man without even turning around. Well, you'd better get on with it then. But it hardly seems worthwhile, said Milo softly. Worthwhile, the man roared indignantly. All I meant that perhaps it isn't too important, Milo repeated, trying not to be impolite. Of course it's not important, he snarled angrily. I wouldn't have asked you to do it if I thought it was important. And now, as he turned to face them, he didn't seem quite so pleasant. Then why bother? Asked Talk, whose alarm suddenly began to ring. Because, my young friends, he muttered sourly, what could be more important than doing unimportant things? If you stop to do enough of them, you'll never get to where you're going, he punctuated his last remark with a villainous laugh. Then you must, gasped Milo. Quite correct, he shrieked triumphantly. I am the terrible Trivium, demon of petty tasks and worthless jobs, ogre of wasted effort, and monster of habit. The humbug dropped his needle and stared in disbelief, while Milo and Talk began to back away slowly. Don't try to leave, he ordered with a menacing sweep of his arm, for there's so very much to do, and you still have over 800 years to go on the first job. Mwahaha! But why do only unimportant things? Asked Milo, who suddenly remembered how much time he spent each day doing them. Think of all the trouble it saves, the man explained, and his face looked as if he'd been grinning an evil grin, if he could grin at all. If you only do the easy and useless jobs, you'll never have to worry about the important ones, which are so difficult. You just won't have the time, for there's always something to do to keep you from what you really should be doing. And if it weren't for that dreadful magic staff, you'd never know how much time you were wasting. As he spoke, he tiptoed slowly towards them with his arms outstretched and continued to whisper in a soft, deceitful voice, Now do come and stay with me. We'll have so much fun together. There are things to fill and things to empty, things to take away and things to bring back, things to pick up and things to put down. And besides all that, we have pencils to sharpen, holes to dig, nails to straighten, stamps to lick, and ever so much more. Why, if you stay here, you'll never have to think again. I like evil characters. And with a little practice, you can become a monster of habit too. They were all transfixed by the Trivium's soothing voice. Oh, is he supposed to be soothing? Was he supposed to be soothing? Oops. But just as he was about to clutch them in his well-manicured fingers, a voice cried out, Run! Run! Milo, who thought it was Talk, turned suddenly and dashed up the trail. Run! Run! It shouted again, and this time Talk thought it was Milo and quickly followed him. Run! Run! It urged once more, and now the humbug, not caring who said it, ran desperately after his two friends, with the terrible Trivium close behind. This way! This way! The voice called again. They turned in its direction and scrambled up the difficult slippery rocks, sliding back at each step almost as far as they'd gone forward. With a great effort and many helping paws from Talk, they reached the top of the ridge at last, but only 2 steps ahead of the furious Trivium. Over here, advised the voice, and without a moment's hesitation they started through a puddle of sticky ooze, which quickly became ankle deep, then knee deep, then hip deep, until finally they were struggling along through what felt very much like waist-deep pool of peanut butter. The Trivium, who had discovered a mound of pebbles which needed counting, followed no more, but stood at the edge, shaking his fist and shouting horrible threats, and promising to rouse every demon in the mountains. What a nasty fellow, gasped Milo, who was having great difficulty just getting his legs to move. I hope I never meet him again. I believe he stopped chasing us, said the bug, looking back over his shoulder. It's not what's behind that worries me, remarked Talk as they stepped from the sticky mess, but what's ahead. Keep going straight, counseled the voice as they continued to pick their way carefully along the new path. Now step up, it recommended. And almost before they knew what had happened, they had all taken a step up and plunged to the bottom of a deep, murky pit. But he said up, Milo complained bitterly from where he lay sprawling. Well, I hope you didn't expect to get anywhere by listening to me, the voice said gleefully. We'll never get out of here, the humbug moaned, looking at the steep, smooth sides of the pit. That is quite an accurate evaluation of the situation, said the voice coldly. Then why did you help us at all? Shouted Milo angrily. Oh, I'd do as much for anybody, he replied. Bad advice is my specialty, for as you can plainly see, I'm the long-nosed, green-eyed, curly-haired, wide-mouthed, thick-necked, broad-shouldered, round-bodied, short-armed, bow-legged, big-footed monster. And if I do say so myself, one of the most frightening fiends of this whole wild wilderness. With me here, you wouldn't dare try to escape. And with that, he shuffled to the edge of the pit and leered down at the helpless prisoners. Talk and the humbug turned away in fright, but Milo, who had learned by now that people were not always what they say they are, reached for his telescope and took a long look for himself. And there at the rim of the hole, instead of what he'd expected, stood a small furry creature with very worried eyes and a rather sheepish grin. He's cute. He's kind of cute. He looks like a little beaver. A little muskrat. Why, you're not a long-nosed, green-eyed, curly-haired, wide-mouthed, thick-necked, broad-shouldered, round-bodied, short-armed, bow-legged, or big-footed. And you're not at all frightening, said Milo indignantly. What kind of a demon are you? Courtney said, he's cute. I'll save him. The little creature, who seemed stunned at being found out, leapt back out of sight and began to whimper softly. I'm the demon of insincerity, he sobbed. I don't mean what I say, I don't mean what I do, and I don't mean what I am. Most people who believe what I tell them go the wrong way and stay there. But you and your awful telescope have spoiled everything. I'm going home. And crying hysterically, he stamped off in a huff. It certainly pays to have a good look at things, observed Milo, as he wrapped up the telescope with great care. Now all we have to do is climb out, said Talk, placing his front paws as high on the wall as he could. Here, hop up on my back. Milo climbed onto the dog's shoulders, and then the bug crawled up both of them, and, by standing on Milo's head, he just managed to hook his cane on the root of an old gnarled tree. With loud complaints, he hung on doggedly until the other two had climbed out over him and pulled him up, somewhat dazed and discouraged. I'll lead the way for a while, he said, brushing himself off. Follow me, and we'll stay out of trouble. He guided them along one of the 5 narrow ledges, all of which led to a grooved and rutted plateau. They stopped for a moment to rest and make plans, but before they had done either, the whole mountain trembled violently, and with a sudden lurch rose high into the air, carrying them along with it. for quite accidentally they had stepped into the calloused hand of the gelatinous giant. That's them trying to get out of the pit. So Milo steps on Talk's back, and then Milo helps the humbug up, and then the humbug used his cane to grab onto the tree, and then they all pull themselves up. The humbug pulls himself up and then helps everyone else up. So they got out of the big pit. They had to climb up out of the pit. I still like this little guy. The demon of insincerity. He's very cute. I kind of feel bad for him. He started crying and ran away. He got called out for not being a real monster. For quite accidentally they had stepped into the calloused hand of the gelatinous giant. "And what have we had here? And what have we here?" he roared, looking curiously at the tiny figures huddled in his palm and licking his lips. He was an incredible size, even sitting down, with long, unkempt hair, bulging eyes, and a shape hardly worth speaking of. He looked, in fact, very much like a colossal bowl of jelly without the bowl. "How dare you disturb my nap?" he bellowed furiously, and the force of his hot breath tumbled them over in his hand. "We're terribly sorry," said Milo meekly, when he'd untangled himself. "But you look just like part of the mountain." "Naturally," the giant replied in a more normal voice. But even this was like an explosion. "I have no shape of my own, so I try to just be like whatever I'm near. In the mountains, I'm a lofty peak. On the beach, a broad sandbar. In the forest, I'm a towering oak. And sometimes in the city, I'm a very handsome 12-story apartment house. I just hate to be conspicuous. It's really not safe, you know." Then he looked at them again with hungry eyes and wondered how well they would taste. "You look much too big to be afraid of anything," said Milo quickly, for the giant had already begun to open his mouth wide. "I'm not," he said with a slight shiver that ran all over his gelatinous body. "I'm afraid of everything. That's why I'm so ferocious. If the others found out, I'd just die. Now do be quiet while I eat my breakfast." He raised his hand towards his gaping mouth, and the humbug shut his eyes tight and clasped both hands over his head. He goes like, it's like, "Ee, don't eat me." "Don't eat me." So there's the gelatinous giant. He looks like the mountains. He just kind of blends in with all the mountains behind him. So he blended in with all the mountains. And then there's Talk and Milo and the humbug are in his hand. And you see them all in his hand. So he said, "Do be quiet while I eat my breakfast." He raised his hand towards his gaping mouth, and the humbug shut his eyes tight and clasped both his hands over his head. "Then aren't you really a fearful demon?" Milo asked desperately, on the assumption that the giant had been brought up well enough not to talk with a mouthful. "Well, approximately, yes," he replied, lowering his arm to the vast relief of the bug. "That is, comparatively, no. What I mean is, relatively, maybe. In other words, roughly, perhaps. What does everyone else think? There, you see," he said peevishly. "I'm even afraid to make a positive statement. So please stop asking questions before I lose my appetite altogether." Then he raised his arm again and prepared to swallow the three of them in one gulp. "Why don't you help us rescue Rhyme and Reason? Then maybe things will get better," shouted Milo again. This time almost too late, for in another instant they would have all been gone. "Oh, I wouldn't do that," said the giant thoughtfully, lowering his arm once more. "I mean, why not leave well enough alone? That is, it'll never work. I wouldn't take a chance. In other words, let's keep things as they are. Changes are so frightening." As he spoke, he began to look a bit ill. Maybe I'll just eat one of you, he remarked unhappily, and save the rest for later. I don't feel very well. I have a better idea, said Milo. You do? Interrupted the giant, losing any desire to eat at all. If it's one thing I can't swallow, it's ideas. They're so hard to digest. I have a box full of all the ideas in the world, said Milo, proudly holding up the gift King Azaz had given him. The thought of it terrified the giant, who began to shake like an enormous pudding. Put me down and just go away, he pleaded, forgetting for a moment who had hold of whom. And please don't open that box. In another moment, he'd set them down on the next jagged peak, and with panic in his eyes, he lumbered off to warn the others of this terrible new threat. But news travels quickly. The word snatcher, the trivium, and the long-nosed, green-eyed, curly-haired, wide-mouthed, thick-necked, broad-shouldered, round-bodied, short-armed, bow-legged, big-footed monster had already spread the alarm through the evil, unenlightened mountains. And out the demons came, from every cave and crevice, through every fissure and crack, from under the rocks and up from the mud, stomping and shuffling, slithering and sliding through the murky shadows, and all had only one thought in mind: destroy the intruders and protect ignorance. From where they stood, Milo, Talk, and the humbug could see them moving steadily forward, still far away but coming quickly. On all sides of the cliff were alive with this evil collection of crawling, looming, creeping, lurching shapes. Some could be seen plainly. Others were but a dim silhouette, and yet still more, only now beginning to stir from their foul places, would be along much sooner than they were wanted. We'd better hurry, barked Talk, or they're sure to catch us. And he started up the trail again. Milo took one deep breath and did the same, and the bug, now that he knew what lay behind, ran ahead with renewed enthusiasm. Yeah, leftovers. I'll hold on to you for leftovers. Chapter 18, The Castle in the Air. Higher and higher they climbed in search of the castle and the two banished princesses. From one crest to the next, from jagged rock to jagged rock, up frightful, crumbling cliffs and along desperately narrow ledges, where a single misstep meant only goodbye. An ominous silence dropped like a curtain around them, and except for the scuffling of their frantic footsteps, there wasn't a sound. The world that Milo knew was a million thoughts away, and the demons were there in the distance. They're gaining, shouted the humbug, wishing he'd never look back. But there it is, cried Milo at the same instant, for straight ahead, climbing up from atop the highest peak, was a spidery spiral stair, and at the other end stood the castle in the air. I see it, said the happy bug, as they struggled up the twisting mountain trail. But what he didn't see was that curled up right in front of the first step was a little round man in a frock coat, sleeping peacefully on a very large and well-worn ledger. A long quill pen sat precariously behind his ear. There were ink stains all over his hands and face, as well as his clothing, and he wore a pair of the thickest eyeglasses that Milo had ever seen. Be very careful, whispered Talk when they finally reached the top. And the humbug stepped gingerly around and started up the stairs. Names, the little man called out briskly, just as the startled bug reached the first step. There's the little man. With the thing. Well, there's only 2 more chapters, but you want to get on tomorrow and read 2 chapters? Yeah, I guess it is a little bit long. I just keep tripping over my words because I can't. There's like that much left. But yeah, I keep tripping over my words because I can't breathe. Okay, we'll finish the rest tomorrow because I'm going to take the opportunity to go. But yeah, we're getting to the end. This is The Castle in the Air is the chapter we're on. And that's where the princesses are locked up. So we're going to find out what happens to the princesses soon. when I get into like a groove reading, I like don't want to stop, but but we're getting there. So everyone stay tuned. It'll be tomorrow or the next day, depending on how sick I am. If I have to go to, hold on, whoops. Yeah, it'll be tomorrow or the next day, depending on how sick I am. If I have to go to urgent care tomorrow, I might not finish reading, but we'll finish the book tomorrow or the next day, because there's literally only 2 chapters left. Let's get my phone case back on. But thank you all for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the story. I love this book. It's so fun. It's a fun book. And I like that Stratty always enjoys my books. I love that Stratty always... Oh, my book's fallen. Don't want to, hold on. The book fell. Where'd it go? You go onto the couch. Oh, Jesus. The lights are turning off. You got a light. Hold on. Light turned off. I knocked the plug out. Okay, yeah, there's the book. There's the book. I can't leave it on the floor. If the dog gets it, I will be pissed. 50th anniversary. It's the 50th anniversary version, so it's like gold foiled and everything or whatever. It's got like the special gold foil. It's their 50th anniversary edition, so I don't want it getting ruined. And if I leave it on the floor, the dog will get it. And this is the thing Christine made for me with her little shells. I don't want the dog getting that either. But yeah, I love that Stratty likes my story times. He always comes and sits with me. Hi, mister. Yeah? Yeah, we gonna go have some tacos and go to bed? Mr. Sleepy Cat. This sweet boy. This sweet boy. Love him. Oh, yeah. Good night. My sweet boy. He always sits with me. I lay here and then he sleeps there. Good night, everybody. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, depending on how sick I am. It'll be tomorrow or the next day. So good night to Stratus. You don't have to get up, Stratty. Good night to Looney. Sweet Looney. And, oh, I'm stretching. And good night to Lucky if he's in here. Is he back in here? No, he left. Okay, he's probably with Grammy. I was like, I don't know where he went. And good night to the burbs. Good night, burbs. Good night, burbs. Alright, night, guys. Bye-bye. I'm going to get tacos. What time is it? It's like 10. I haven't even had dinner, but I wasn't that hungry earlier anyway. Alright, we're going to have tacos and then go to bed. Bye. Bye, Stratty. Night, nights.